You know what's coming up right now, folks. It is our Sunday night game of the week. Albert Pujols trying to lead the Cardinals. This is a battle for first. D. Lee and the Cubs, they're the opponents. Cubs card starts right now.
It's ESPN Sunday Night Baseball presented by Taco Bell. A beautiful night. Very moderate. Temperatures got to about 70 degrees in downtown St. Louis today. But the big crowd is going to heat things up as always. It's the Cubs and Cardinals, those two ancient antagonists. And this is the rubber match of the series. They're the top two teams in the Central Division. Hello, everyone. I'm Jon Miller with Joe Morgan and Peter Gammons. Welcome to Sunday Night Baseball. Now, what about these Cardinals? They're atop the division, but nobody thought the Cardinals could be any good this year. Two of their best starters on the disabled list. The rotation, therefore, in disarray. The outfield, a bunch of young guys in disarray. And yet, the Cardinals, with all of that disarray going on, are leading the division. Their pitching has been superb. That outfield has been excellent. And, of course, Joe, the great Albert Pujols, as always, is leading the way.
Well, John, there may be players have better weeks, even better months than Albert Pujols, but no one has a more consistent season year in and year out. This guy is the real deal. And what they've done to try to help him this year, Rick Ankiel is hitting behind him, and he's hitting a few home runs, but they brought Troy Gloss over to add some more power to this lineup. He's only hit one home run, but 2 years ago he hit 38 home runs for the Toronto Blue Jays. So, I mean, if they can continue to get some production behind Albert Pujols, they can win. No one's going to protect him, but they can pick up what is left. They're going to pitch him just like they do Barry Bonds, pitch around him.
Albert has walked 32 times in only 31 games so far. Now, the Cubs, they lead the major leagues in runs scored. Of course, Derek Lee has been sensational, as always. But Peter Gammons, Japanese import Kosuke Fukudome, has helped turn the Cubs' approach to hitting completely around.
John, Kosuke Fukudome is turning out to be the rarest of free agents. He is exactly what the Cubs thought they were getting for $48 million. GM Jim Hendry knew the Cubs were too right-handed, and Fukudome gave them a left-handed bat in the middle of their lineup. They needed a prototypical defensive right fielder who could throw, which he is. They wanted a premier base runner for a team that sometimes went bump in the night, which he is. What they got in this two-time Central League batting champion in Japan was someone who Hendry says has changed the entire lineup's approach. Fukudome is second in the league in pitches seen per at bat, fifth in on-base percentage, and all of a sudden the Cubbies, who as a team were in the bottom three in on-base percentage each of the last 5 years, now lead the National League. And they haven't led the league in that statistic since 1945. Coincidentally, the last time Chicago played in the World Series. They went out and signed Fukudome. They made rookie Giovanni Soto the catcher, Kerry Wood the closer, moved Ryan Dempster into the rotation, and finished April with the best record in franchise history. John?
And we'll get a look at Fukudome. He'll be in the outfield. He got a .443 on-base percentage, fifth best in the league. And a lot of his Cubs teammates, as Peter said, have followed suit. Derek Lee having a big year, one of his best starts in a long, long time. They'll be facing Todd Wellemeyer, a former Cub. He's on his way in for the bullpen, and he'll be throwing the first pitch of the night. Sunday Night Baseball begins next.
ESPN Sunday Night Baseball is presented by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. And in part by BMW, the ultimate driving machine. And Pepsi. To learn more about Pepsi's Clutch Performer of the Month award, visit PepsiClutch.com.
You deserve a meal made for men. Introducing Taco Bell's Big Box Meal. A bean burrito, crunchy taco, cinnamon twist, a large drink, and featuring the Bacon Club Chalupa. Eat like a man.
coupe has been reshaped. The all-new BMW X6.
Firefighters, settle down. How about the budget?
Balance it.
And the taxes?
One page or less.
Anyone want better roads?
We do.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Done. A lot of paper to tell us we need clean water. Need clean water, guys?
Aye.
All right, this is the easiest job I've ever had. We're out of here.
Get more done now. Communicate with groups in less than a second with Nextel Direct Connect. Only on the Now Network.
There's the one place where you can step up and be a man.
Community college?
Vegas.
Two strangers. One mistake.
Well, I'm gonna need a divorce.
Absolutely. What's mine is yours, baby.
No mercy.
I am freezing the $3 million.
Oops, just you're a little on the heavy side.
This Friday.
Which one of these losers is ruining your life? That one.
What is wrong with you?
Pick a team right now. Pick a team.
Come on. What happens in Vegas? Rated PG-13. Friday. Only in theater.
Layers make things better. Like the tasty layers of Nestle Crunch Crisp. Light crispy wafers, chocolatey goodness, and airy Crispies. Nestle Crunch Crisp. For the kid in you.
So much good can come from a game. When I was younger, I was part of RBI, reviving baseball in inner cities. It brings kids together, builds confidence, and creates opportunity. And a great program. Major League Baseball proudly supports RBI.
1, 2, 3, RBI!
Alfonso Soriano, the powerful leadoff man of the Chicago Cubs, getting ready to bat against Todd Wellemeyer. And we'll be talking about Soriano as well as Albert Pujols, who visited with Joe Morgan, talked about hitting philosophy before the game. And just 2 years after the World Series, they were the winners. The Cardinals are looking at a bright future, but with almost an entirely different ball club. Same manager, though, Tony La Russa, 12th year as the manager of the Cardinals. And he's up against Lou Piniella, and they've been managing against each other for a long time. Piniella in his second season as the Cubs manager. They're both from the Tampa, Florida area. Now the Cubs batting order presented by Taco Bell. It'll be Soriano leading it off in left field. Ryan Theriot at shortstop. Derek Lee first base. Kosuke Fukudome in right field. Mark DeRosa third base. Giovanni Soto, the rookie catcher, off to a fabulous start. Mike Fontenot, second base. Reed Johnson, the former Blue Jay, in center field. And Jason Marquis is the pitcher, batting ninth against Todd Wellemeyer. And Wellemeyer, a former Cub, originally drafted by the Cubs. He was always a relief pitcher with the Cubs. The Cardinals made him a starter last year out of sort of desperation, and he's done a very fine job for them in that role.
Well, Johnny has a fastball, a slider, a change, and a curveball. And he will use his slider as main off-speed pitch. Not a hard thrower.
Skip Schumacher went out to right field. There's a little patch of sunshine out there still on a spectacular St. Louis evening. And it said he better get his sunglasses for this first inning anyway.
That's smart. Always take them out there, and if you don't need them, then you can take them off later. Obviously, he needs them. He's wearing them at all times.
67 degrees, the game time temperature, as the first pitch is in there for a called strike. Alfonso Soriano leading off for the Cubs, who have scored 186 runs in 30 games this year. And that is a called strike on the outside. 0-2 the count. The Cubs, however, although they're the highest scoring team in the major leagues so far, are not getting any production out of the leadoff spot. And that's it. 3 pitches and see ya.
Well, their leadoff hitters are hitting under 200. But also one of the problems with the Cubs, John, they score a lot of runs one day and then they do not score runs consistently. That's part of their problem.
Cubs are hitting .286 atop the National League, lead the league in runs scored, and yet the leadoff spot in their batting order has the lowest batting average of any leadoff spot in anybody's batting order in the National League. So
one of the reasons for their inconsistencies.
They have been scoring all these runs almost in spite of Soriano, and he was also out with an injury for a while. And whoever it was that replaced him
Well, Reed Johnson was getting on base. He wasn't hitting, but he was getting on base sometimes. He would take a pitch, he'd get hit, and he took some walks.
Reed Johnson has done an excellent job, though, in getting on base. We'll see him a little bit later as Wellemeyer misses low. 2 balls and a strike to Ryan Theriot. Reed Johnson with a .362 on base average.
And there's a lot of talk about, you know, whether Soriano should have gone back into the leadoff spot.
And that's a foul off to the right. Well, a lot of people look at his home runs and say, man, we're not getting the RBI production because he's hitting leadoff. With all those home runs he hits every year, usually 30-something home runs, he should be hitting 4th or 5th in more of an RBI spot. 2-2 the count. And 3-2.
Well, if you look at it, he's got 244 career home runs. 163 of them have come with nobody on base. That's 67%. You know, 2 out of 3.
That's a foul.
You know, with no one on base. But the one thing about it, Lou Piniella knows his players, and he feels like Soriano will play better and be more productive for him and the team out of the leadoff, in the leadoff spot. And that's what managers get paid for. You get the most out of the players that they have.
And it's a walk for Theriot. And not so unusual for the Cubs to get walks as it used to be. For many years, Joe, this was a team that did not have, as a group, a high on-base average. But whether it's Fukudome or the combination of Fukudome and Reed Johnson and other guys just following suit, whatever it is, all of a sudden, they are very patient. They lead the league in on-base percentage and batting average, getting a lot of walks. In fact, the only team that's walked more often than them in the National League is the Cardinals. Here's Derek Lee. And Derek is off to a great start. .352 average, 8 homers, 23 batted in. Each team has won a game in this series. The Cardinals won in extra innings on Friday. The Cubs with a lopsided victory yesterday. And there's that little slider and the throw to first. Theriot back to the bat. And you got to be careful if you're a base runner when Yadier Molina is behind the plate. He's had 18 pickoffs starting in 2005, more than any other catcher. In fact, now it's at 21 pickoffs since 2005, the most in Major League Baseball. Theriot, who has 7 steals, and that's off the outside to Derek Lee. So the count 1 ball, 2 strikes to Derek Lee. On base percentage, that was your game. Well, you played all those years and went to the Hall of Fame.
I think it's important for the guys at the top of the order. It's not as important for me in the 5th and 6th place hitters. But the top of the order, I think it is, because that's where you want to get on base so that you can score runs for your 3rd and 4th and 5th place hitters. You'd like to have a high on base percentage everywhere, but I think it's more important in the top 4 hitters.
That is bobbled but recovered, and then Izturis' quick feed attempt never got there to Kennedy covering, and everybody's safe.
Well, that's a situation where he tried to still make the double play. You have to make sure you get one out. I mean, you'll see him, he bobbles it, and then he still wants to make the double play. So he bobbles it. Now he's trying to make it quickly by giving it with his glove. Just take your time and make sure you get the one runner at second. And once he bobbles it, make sure you get one out at second base. He tries to bat it there with his glove. And you can see it doesn't get there.
So the Cubs get a break, and here is Kosuke Fukudome. Fukudome hitting .348 in his first year in Major League Baseball. And that is a changeup in there for a called strike. 31 years old. He was 9 years with the Chunichi Dragons in the Central League in Japan, which is the older league, the equivalent in Japan of the National League. Older league, no designated hitter used. And that's a strike call to the outside. He was a batting titleist, a batting champion in 2 different seasons. He won 4 Gold Gloves. And in 2006, his last big season there, he was the MVP of the Central League, hitting .351 with 31 homers. 1-2 the count to Fukudome.
But he wasn't as big a star there as Ichiro or Matsui. I mean, they were the big stars there in Japan.
Matsui, of course, played for the Tokyo Giants, who were the Yankees of Japanese baseball. Pop up. And these tourists, the infield fly is called. So he was out anyway. And that is out number 2. The runners hold. Terrio at second, Lee at first. So Fukudome unable to deliver a run there. It's interesting, Joe. He only has 12 RBIs, only 1 home run. And yet, I was looking at his various numbers. He came into the game hitting .367 with runners in scoring position. So 2 down, and here is Mark DeRosa. Todd Wellemeyer trying to get out of a jam here. A walk to Terrio, then an error by East Torres. Putting 2 men on. And the slider a little bit low and outside for ball 1 to DeRosa. Fukudome, his numbers would be the numbers of a great leadoff man so far. .348 average. The on-base average .443. That's back to the screen. 1 ball, 1 strike. But in the Cubs lineup, he's hitting 5th, which you would figure more power in the 5th spot.
Well, he's hitting 1 home run, and that was opening day, but it came in a clutch situation. He tied the ball game in the bottom of the 9th with a 3-run homer, and that's the only home run that he has hit.
He really loves hitting at Wrigley Field, period. That's a foul. Out of play. .305 lifetime average with the Dragons in the Central League. And an on-base percentage just below .400. He was also an outstanding outfielder, 4 Gold Gloves. And one of the great throwing arms. They say before he got hurt last year, Joe, that his arm was the equal of Ichiro, and some people think it was a stronger arm than Ichiro.
Well, the one thing you have to be careful with, John, when you look at those numbers and try to compare them to Major League Baseball numbers, they do not equate the same way. I mean, that's more like a AAA teams over there overall.
That's a swing. Strike 3. Wellemeyer with his 2nd strikeout, and the inning is over. 2 men stranded. Albert Pujols will be coming up 3rd in the last of the inning against Jason Marquis, the former Cardinal, heading to the mound. No score.
If you need to tow it, Quad City Spring has it. Quad City Spring is the area's suspension, spring, truck accessory, and towing experts. From goosenecks and fifth wheels to every kind of hitch imaginable, including Blue Ox base plates and tow bars. Strong as an ox. And Quad City Spring installs and services everything they sell. So tow it right. Get your ride to Quad City Spring. Quad City Spring, 34th Street at River Drive in Moline.
So, you're a green person, but which shade? Confusing, isn't it? Well, True Value's Color Made Simple can help. With exclusive tools, trained professionals, and expert advice, finding your color will always be simple. Now let's talk purple. True Value's Color Made Simple.
Meeting the challenge since 1940.
Made for men. Introducing Taco Bell's Big Box Meal. A bean burrito, crunchy taco, cinnamon twist, a large drink, and featuring the Bacon Club Chalupa. Eat like a man.
Layers make things better, like the tasty layers of Nestle Crunch Crisp. Light crispy wafers, chocolatey goodness, and airy Crispies. Nestle Crunch Crisp, for the kid in you.
ESPN Sunday Night Baseball presented by Taco Bell. We got the Cubs and Cardinals in St. Louis. No scores. The Cardinals get ready to bat. Here's the Cardinals batting order presented by Taco Bell. Skip Schumacher in right field. Adam Kennedy, second base. Albert Pujols getting a lot of walks, more than ever before. Rick Ankiel in center field having an excellent early season. Troy Glaus, the slugger, only one home run though. Chris Duncan, left field. He's been struggling. Yadier Molina, the catcher. Todd Wellemeyer, the pitcher, hitting 8th. And Cesar Izturis, the shortstop, batting 9th. Jason Marquis, the former Cardinal, goes to work. And there's a called strike to Schumacher. Marquis, 5 starts, a 4.45 ERA. And more hits than innings pitched. There is Terrio. And he throws out Schumacher. So there is one away.
You can see that was his two-seam fastball there. He throws a four-seam fastball, slider, changeup, and a curveball. And he gets a little sink on the two-seam fastball. See the movement down, and he gets the ground ball. I talked to him before the game. He said he felt great tonight, so we'll see how well he pitches, but he says he feels great.
He had 3 years here with the Cardinals, including winning 14 games for the Cardinal team that ultimately won the World Series in 2006. But his second half of that year was so poor he was not even included on the postseason roster. And that's off the outside to Adam Kennedy. Kennedy is having a big rebound so far this year after his worst season in the big leagues last year. He's hitting .310. And that's off the outside, 3-0. But Marquis ended up with an ERA above 6 with the Cardinals 2 years ago, and ended up signing with the Cubs as a free agent in the offseason. He went 12-9 for the Cubs last year. And there's a strike 3. Originally drafted by the Atlanta Braves. And with Atlanta, with the Cardinals, now with the Cubs, in all 8 of his big league seasons, his team has been in the postseason. And there's a walk. So he walks Adam Kennedy in front of Albert Pujols. And Joe, we're starting to see this year, more than ever before, the Barry Bonds treatment of Pujols by opposing pitchers.
Well, there's no way you can protect him unless you put another Albert Pujols behind him. Same thing when Barry Bonds was in his prime. You can't put someone behind him and hope that they can protect him. You'd always rather pick the player behind him. But what happens is he takes his walks, he gets on base, and that allows the other hitters to be hitting in clutch situations. Rick Ankiel and Troy Glaus. Glaus only has 1 home run, but he also has 21 RBIs. So he's doing a good job in that capacity.
He's walked more often than any player in the big leagues. Count now 1 ball and 1 strike to Albert Pujols.
And he had some interesting thoughts about his approach to hitting when he walks to the plate. And when you listen to him, you understand why he is such a great hitter, because he has a great understanding of what he's doing in the batter's box.
Right over the outside, strike 2. 1 ball and 2 strikes now.
Well, he obviously has some history with Marquis, and apparently he's looking for something different. Right on the outside corner. Both pitches have been pretty good pitches toward the outside edge.
Albert has never homered against Marquis. Oh, he chased one. Strike 3.
And you very rarely see an at-bat like that for Albert Pujols. Good job by Marquis. He gets ahead with the fastball 0-2. He throws all fastballs, and then he throws him a cutter. And he just chases. See, that ball's cutting toward the outside corner.
And Albert chased it.
Now Rick Ankiel. Ankiel hitting .280, 5 homers, 16 batted in, 369 on base average. Ankiel has come full circle, making the shift from being a big league pitcher to being a big league hitter. This is his first full year in the big leagues as strictly a hitter. That sinker at the knees for a strike. Ankiel now 28 years old. He hit 43 home runs last year between the majors and the minors, including 11 of them in only 172 at bats in the big leagues. Change up in the dirt, 2-1 the count.
He's not only made the transition from pitcher to hitter, he's made the transition to be a center fielder. He's playing, the toughest position in the outfield to play.
Jim Edmonds, who was here for a long time, now with the San Diego Padres. And Ankiel has moved into center field. Schumacher's in right tonight, and Chris Duncan is the left fielder. In the dirt, nice save by Soto, Giovanni Soto. We'll be talking about him a lot tonight too, Joe.
He's a big surprise for the Cubs. I mean, he has been just, they talk about Fukudome, but this guy's been equally as important to this ball club.
Only 25 years old. And already one of the best hitting catchers in the game. And that's another walk. Good eye there by Ankiel. And you see why the Cardinals have drawn more walks than any team in the majors. Here's Lou Piniella, Cubs manager. The Cubs have done real well, Joe, but some of the problems that they may have later on have been masked by the astounding offense they've been able to muster so far early this year. And Jason Marquis may need to pitch well to keep his spot in the rotation. Here's Troy Gloss in the dirt outside, knocked down by Soto, ball 1.
He's having trouble controlling his slider, and that seems to be his biggest problem. He was throwing a lot of sliders to Ankiel. He got Albert Pujols to chase a slider, but other than that, he has not been able to throw it for a strike. And he's bounced 3 of them.
Right-handed hitters, which is counterintuitive, but right-handed hitters are hitting .359 against Marquis so far this year. And ball 2 to Troy Gloss. And now Larry Rothschild, the pitching coach, is going to go out and speak to him.
Well, he actually, to Schumacher and to Kennedy, I mean, his fastball looked pretty good. But after that, he started throwing a lot of sliders, and he hasn't been able to control it. And once he's fallen behind, he does not want to come in. That seems to be the biggest problem. He doesn't want to come in with the fastball.
Now the plate umpire, Mike DeMuro, is going to go out and ask them to move it along. Cubs starters this year are only 9th in the league in innings pitched, although their ERA has been pretty good. They've been tough to hit. But for instance, with Marquis, the Cubs are averaging nearly 7.5 runs per game in his starts this year. And his teammate Ryan Dempster, they're averaging even more. Those are the 2 highest, best supported starting pitchers in the National League this year. 3-0 the count. He's already walked 2 in the inning. You've got the left-handed hitting Chris Duncan on deck. Of course, a very dangerous hitter up right now, Troy Gloss. No, off the outside. He's walked him loaded. Wow. That's the second time in this 3-game series that a Cubs pitcher has walked the bases loaded in the first inning. Rich Hill on Friday night not only walked him loaded, then he walked in a run. And finally Piniella went out and got him, and Hill is back in the minor leagues. So 3 men on. Kennedy at third, Ankiel at second, Gloss at first, and here's Chris Duncan. Ball 1.
Well, you can see what he's doing. I mean, he's just looks like he's nibbling. He's pitching away from contact. He's afraid to have them put the ball in play. And it looked like he had a pretty good fastball to start with.
I thought he looked really good when he was facing Albert.
Well, I thought he looked good when he was actually facing Schumacher as well. Had good velocity, good movement.
That is caught by Derek Lee.
That's a Gold Glove play right there. Saves a couple of runs, at least.
Three-time Gold Glover Derek Lee. That ball was just annihilated by Duncan, came up empty.
If you're fed up with the pump, then meet Chevy's MVPs of MPG. 7 models that offer an EPA estimated 30 miles per gallon highway or better. Just extended through May 6. Current owners and lessees of a 1999 or newer vehicle use an additional $1,000 bonus cash to purchase this 08 Cobalt starting at $11,885 after all offers. See your local Chevy dealer or visit ChevyDealer.com.
Relax, Max. Your nerves are just like jumping jacks, Max. Your heart is thumping with a crazy sound. Hear it pound. A bumping, 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 jumping up and down. Stay cool, fool. Just take it easy, that's the rule, fool.
Are you? Yeah, in about 15 years. I just want to commend you for sitting and coach. Why? Well, you're saving, but you still need some financial advice. We need a plan to help protect and grow our money throughout our life. Retirement isn't the finish line. Where are you going? Back to first class. We can afford it now.
Get to know your future self with Lincoln Financial Group at lincolnfinancial.com.
We have a code blue.
Code what?
Code blue?
Code blue.
Divide by the total sales, you'll see how we came up with the 10%.
Code blue?
Code blue.
The cold-activated bottle from Coors Light. The mountains on the label turn blue when your beer is as cold as the Rockies.
Oh, what?
Frost-brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer.
Hey, baseball fans, Verizon Wireless is the only place to experience ESPN MVP. Sign up for VCast, free for 1 month, and manage your fantasy teams, get video alerts, exclusive commentary, and more. Go to VerizonWireless.com/ESPN to learn how.
Sunday Night Baseball from St. Louis. I'm Jon Miller with Joe Morgan and Peter Gammons from Busch Stadium in St. Louis. And Giovanni Soto hammers one into the right field corner. The first hit of the night. Schumacher has trouble digging it out of the corner, and Soto has a stand-up double. More of the same for Giovanni Soto, who came in hitting .333 in his rookie season. Now here's Steve Berthiaume with the Sports Center right now.
Thank you, John. The Boston Celtics convincing 34-point winners over Atlanta in Game 7 today. 22 for Paul Pierce, 18 and 11 for Kevin Garnett. The Celtics advance to face LeBron and the Cavaliers game on Tuesday in Boston. At Coors Field, the Rockies' Aaron Cook improved to 5-1. Colorado beat LA 7-2, snapping the Dodgers' 8-game winning streak. Next Sports Center after the game. Stay current with ESPN News, now in spectacular ESPN News HD.
Thanks, Steve. And here is Mike Fontenot. He takes the ball outside from Todd Wellemeyer. Fontenot, .286 average. No score, top of the second, but Soto leading off the inning with a double. Fontenot's job, Joe, he got to pull the ball, right? You move him over to third at least.
Well, he's got to move him over. Now, if he can't pull the ball, you can always bunt. There are a lot of things you can do. You just have to make sure you move him over. Long fly ball to right will move him over as well.
Reed Johnson is on deck, a right-handed hitter. And that's inside, 3-0 the count to him. Fontenot had a big day here yesterday. Drove in 4 runs, hit a 3-run homer. That was the big hit in a 6-run inning against Kyle Loesch. And he's been on a roll. You see that 6 for his last night was 7 RBIs. And this time it's a 4-pitch walk. Now, you see the score up there at the top of the screen, Joe? Cubs nothing, Cardinals nothing. On top of the score bar, we're calling it a score bar, like a the sports bar where you and I like to go on Saturday nights. We're providing extra stats for your added enjoyment of the game. We'll track each batter's average against the pitch count And at the end of each at bat, we'll update each hitter's season stats as well. For instance, Fontenot's stats basically stayed the same because he walked. Here's Reed Johnson, 278, no homers, 10 batted in. And the little cutter misses a little bit low. And I don't think Wellemeyer thought it was a little low.
Well, one of the problems that both of these pitchers have is they're not really strikeout pitchers. And if you continue to put runners on base, they're going to put the ball in play, and then you got to hope that they hit it at someone.
Which Chris Duncan did, more or less.
Well, they didn't hit it at someone, but Derek Lee made a great play. You're right, but you have to, when you do not strike out a lot of hitters, you have to make them put the ball in play early.
And Reed Johnson is, again, and you got a lot of hitters on both teams that are this way now. If you're not throwing strikes, he's not going to swing.
That's true, and it's up to the pitcher to throw strikes. You can only be patient as a hitter if the pitcher's not throwing strikes. If the pitcher's throwing strike one, strike two, you can't be patient. You have to swing. So the pitcher dictates how patient hitters can be.
Marquis, the opposing pitcher on deck. That fastball is a strike, and it's 2-1. By the way, Marquis is one of the best hitting pitchers in the game. 2-1 the count to Reed Johnson. Johnson was picked up in spring training. The Toronto Blue Jays released him on March 23rd, and 2 days later the Cubs, who were looking for a center fielder, they signed him just like that. Outside, 3-1. So Wellemeyer gave up the double on the first pitch of the inning to Soto, and he's hardly been in the strike zone ever since. He walked Fontenot. There's Fontenot at first. That's Soto over at second. And Wellemeyer peering in at Yadier Molina for a sign here. He's on the verge of getting into some very serious trouble. 3-1 the count. Down the third base line and headed on down the left field line. Soto will come around third. He'll score. Duncan digs it out. Stopping at third is Fontenot, and it's a stand-up double for Reed Johnson. 1-0 Cubs.
And this is predictable. I mean, if you continue to walk hitters, pitch from behind, and you're not a strikeout pitcher, you're going to give up some runs because they're going to put the ball in play. He got 3-1. He sits on a fastball. He gets it, and he rips it. Good hitting here by Johnson. Look at that. Just a nice, compact swing. Pulls it down the line. Bloss playing him pretty much straight away. He wasn't guarding the line, right down the line. A lot of times when a pitcher falls behind the count, the catcher can give the third baseman a signal that the ball is going to be inside, so he can kind of lean that way. And that ball was inside. I don't know if they gave him a signal or not, but that's the way a catcher can help his infielders. When they get behind, they're going to go inside. Just let them know the pitch is going to be inside. But I'm not sure that pitch was supposed to be there because all of a sudden Wellemeyer is having trouble throwing strikes.
So here is Jason Marquis. Marquis so far this year, 2 hits, 12 at bats, both hits doubles. He's driven in 3 runs already. And a fastball in there for a strike. Marquis, Joe, if he could hit a ground ball to second, would knock in a run. They're playing back in the middle infield. And he'd move Johnson over to third as well, but he pops it up. Bloss in foul ground. What a bad at bat that was. Marquis looked just like a pitcher in that at bat. More Major League Baseball tomorrow night. Monday Night Baseball. The Boston Red Sox, defending Major League champions, head to Detroit, take on Jim Leyland's Tigers. Monday Night Baseball, 7 o'clock Eastern at ESPN. Red Sox Tiger games is also available on ESPN in Detroit. Daisuke Matsuzaka against Jeremy Bonderman at Comerica Park tomorrow. And a foul back to the screen. And Alfonso Soriano, who struck out on 3 pitches his first at bat, behind in the count 0-1 this time. Soriano hitting only 167, but he has shown signs of breaking out of it here lately. He had a dramatic 2-run homer in the 9th inning Friday night in this series that tied the game. center field. Ankiel on the warning track. Tagging up from third is Fontenot. And he scores the Cubs' second run. A long fly ball to the deepest part of the yard by Soriano.
He hit that ball pretty well, but he reached for it. But he got the job done. That's exactly what you're supposed to do. Make sure you get the runner in from third with less than 2 outs. It's a fastball away, and he reaches out. May have been a cutter. So he just reaches and gets it with his upper body. He didn't have much leg action. That's why we've seen him hit balls out straight away. But a good job by Soriano to get it to the outfield.
Here is Ryan Theriot. They're trying to get Reed Johnson home. Johnson at second. 2 runs in for the Cubs. Soto started the inning with a double, and Fontenot walked, and he fell behind Reed Johnson 3-1, and Johnson doubled. Ryan Theriot walked his first time. There is Torres, and that's the inning. 2 runs for the Cubs. Now the Cardinals are coming up against Marquee, trailing 2-0.
Need a lift?
Yeah.
Hop in.
Chevy Silverado offers 315 horsepower and the best V8 fuel economy of any full-size pickup. Better than Toyota, better than Ford.
You too? Get in.
Chevy Silverado. Built to last. Built to love.
Sunday Night Baseball from St. Louis, 2-0. The Cubs leading the Cardinals. I'm Jon Miller with Joe Morgan and Peter Gammons. And my partner Joe Morgan had a chat with Albert Pujols before the game.
When you see a pitcher out there, what goes through your mind?
Well, not too much. You don't have that much to think about it. You know, I got my game plan. Every time I go out there, I just try and look for a good pitch to hit so I can drive it in the gap. You know, I don't try to think of pulling the ball or anything. Just gap to gap and just to react to the ball inside, and just to try to drive the ball. Most of the time, you know, when somebody give you the sign to get the guy over, you want to hit a quick ground ball to second base. Okay, you did your job. But I want to make sure that I drive the ball that way, and I can also get the RBI. So I don't think too much. Just make sure I see the ball good and just trust my hands and being consistent with my swing.
All right, so Joe, our Nextel instant analysis this week, Albert Pujols hitting philosophy.
Well, the thing that he was talking about, John, is hitting to the gaps. These are the gaps right here. He tries to aim back through the middle, and if the ball gets on him, he may go this way. If it doesn't, he pulls the ball. So that's what he means by aiming for the gaps, trying to drive the ball. And the key was, he said he tries to get a pitch to drive. If it's the first pitch, okay. If it happens to be the third pitch, okay. He may take a strike if it wasn't a pitch that he thought he could drive in a gap. So, I mean, that's one of the reasons that we'll have some other conversation with him, but that's one of the reasons he is such a great hitter. He knows exactly what he's doing in the batter's box.
Yadier Molina, first ball swinging. Theriot from deep short. Molina not a very fast runner. And one away on one pitch from Jason Marquis.
I mean, we've talked about guys' approach to hitting. Here's Albert Pujols. Look at the balance. Watch everything that works. Here's a fastball in. He pulls the ball. Look at his hips open. He just reacts to it. He's not trying to pull it. There's a fastball right back to the middle. He goes right back through the middle with it. Here's a fastball away. Look at that. He extends out and goes the other way. Just a great hitter.
Now Wellemeyer, hitting 8th in the order, takes a called strike.
I also talked to Derek Lee a little bit, and I'll give you a little of his approach as when he comes to the plate, because they're similar in a way.
That's a fair ball by Wellemeyer. And Fukudome, who has a strong arm, playing him in shallow right, holds him to a single. First Cardinal hit. Wellemeyer, only his second hit of the year. He's now 2 for 12. And here comes Cesar Izturis. Izturis, the 9th place hitter. Tony La Russa has the pitchers bat 8th. So Izturis comes up, Venezuelan native, a Gold Glove winner at shortstop in the National League in 2004. And that is a called strike. I often thought, Joe, that you talk about Albert Pujols, he doesn't talk about hitting home runs. He talks about driving the ball into the gap.
Exactly. And what happens, John, when you're driving the ball in the gap, if you get an off-speed pitch inside, well, he's going to pull it, and you hit it out of the ballpark. You get a fastball sometimes away, you just drive it, and it may go out. And he'll say later on in the conversation, he's lucky that he is so strong that when he does drive it in the gap, they don't come down until they go out of the ballpark.
I'm thinking any guy who's got strength, that would be the best approach. Yeah, but home runs will come.
It's easier said than done, though, John. It really is.
0-2 the count to Izturis. That's a foul off the right field side.
It's hard to keep that discipline, John. You get a guy in the hole, 2 balls, no strikes, and you want to drive the ball. You say, all right, now a lot of times you end up trying to pull that pitch because you know it's a fastball coming. What he's saying is he just continues to stay in that same mode. He doesn't change his discipline, and when you do that, you're Albert Pujols. But very few guys can continue to do that because it's so difficult to do. I mean, we all have a tendency, especially if you have success hitting home runs, the next time you get a pitch there, you want to try to hit a home run again. Albert Pujols stays true to his belief that he tries to drive the ball in the gap, and that's why he ends up hitting .330 as well as hitting home runs.
That's a base hit for Izturis. And Wellemeyer will stop at second. 2 men on, 1 man out. And Skip Schumacher will come up now. Schumacher, who has been a great story for the Cardinals this year. He's been hitting at the top of the order. He's been playing excellent outfield and getting on base all the time. And Peter Gammons, Skip Schumacher, who is this guy?
Well, you know, it's interesting, John. Parts of 7 years, he hit 28 home runs in the minor leagues. He was always considered like a potential 4th or 5th outfielder. He's blossomed this year. He's got close to a 400 on base. But he said to me, he went with Chris Duncan to Mark McGuire's house and worked out with McGuire for a week to 10 days this past winter. And McGuire does this. He did it for Matt Holliday. He does it for both the Duncan brothers. He brings guys in, works with them. Schumacher said, you know, I'm just a little singles hitting outfielder, but he helped me in terms of my approach, my looking at video, breaking things down. And he claims that the time that he spent with McGuire, which McGuire was very willing to do for him, really turned his career around.
Well, he's it even, at least for one night, made him a power hitter on Friday night. He hit a 2-run homer that ended the game in the 10th inning.
Well, John, approach is the important thing there. Not necessarily whether you're going to hit the ball out of the ballpark or not, but having a philosophy or approach to hitting. And, you know, it doesn't mean just because McGuire was a home run hitter, he doesn't have any other approach other than hitting home runs. So he was able to help Schumacher.
That's a base hit. Out of the reach of DeRosa. Wellemeyer will score. And Izturis is over to third on a single for Schumacher. And at bat that would make Big Mac proud. 2-1 Cubs.
Well, the one thing that we talk about here is you have 2 pitchers who are going to have guys putting the ball in play, even, you know, when runners get on base. Low and in fastball, and he hits a shot right back through the middle. And you see his Izturis go around the third base.
I said DeRosa, that is Fontenot at second base. DeRosa is the third baseman tonight with Aramis Ramirez out of action.
You just cannot have a lot of runners if you're not going to strike out some hitters.
Here's Adam Kennedy.
If you allow all these hitters to continue to put the ball in play when they have runners on base, you're going to give up some runs. Unless you have a great sinker and you can get the ground balls.
Marquis with a 4.45 ERA. Opposing hitters coming into this game are hitting .321 against him. Now a ball and a strike to Adam Kennedy, who walked his first time. Remember, Marquis walked the bases loaded in the first inning. He got out of it with a spectacular diving catch of a line drive by Derek Lee. Well, the Cubs have had 3 straight singles against him. Wellemeyer, Izturis, and Schumacher in that order. And have a run home. And Schumacher is back to the bag. And after Kennedy, then it's Albert Pujols' time. He's on deck. So Marquis could be getting into all kinds of trouble here. That's a base hit through that open hole. The game is tied. Torres scores. Schumacher to second, and here comes Big Albert.
So you continue to have runners on base. It also opens up holes because if Derek Lee's playing a normal position, he catches that ball, but because he's shortened for the double play, there's no way that he can cover the hole. I mean, there's a big hole on the right side. See, Derek Lee covers a lot of ground, but he still can't get there.
So here is Pujols after the Kennedy single. This game is tied at 2, and the Cubs, you saw Rothschild calling the bullpen. Cubs bullpen is active. There's one, back to first, 2, a double play. Beautifully started by Terrio. Fontenot turned it in the middle, and Albert Pujols hits into a pair on one pitch. Lee, then Fukudome coming up.
Turn on the refreshment with a large icy cold Mickey D's sweet tea. Brewed fresh daily, sweetened to perfection, and just $1 cool.
Hurry in now for Toyota's banner sales event with great deals on a huge selection of Toyotas. Like the stylish Camry, the best-selling car in America. Or the all-new Corolla, a lot of car for the money with great fuel efficiency. Or see the larger-than-life Toyota Tundra, Motor Trend's 2008 Truck of the Year. And check out the all-new Sequoia Limited with seating for 8 passengers. The banner sales event ends soon, so hurry to your Toyota dealer today.
Cobalt tools are so comfortable, you just don't want to quit working.
What are you doing up there, Jimmy? Welding, Chad?
Cobalt, the next generation of tough tools. Available exclusively at Lowe's.
There's the one place where you can step up and be a man.
Community college?
Vegas.
2 strangers. One mistake.
Well, I'm gonna need a divorce.
Absolutely. What's mine is yours, baby.
No mercy.
I am freezing the $3 million.
Oops, just you're a little on the heavy side.
This Friday.
Which one of these losers is ruining your life? That one.
What is wrong with you?
Pick a team right now. Pick a team.
What happens in Vegas. Rated PG-13. Friday. Only in theater.
ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. Presented by Taco Bell. Brought to you by Chevy and American Revolution. And Lowe's for all your home improvement needs. Lowe's, let's build something together.
Sunset over the mighty Mississippi. We're in St. Louis. Famed Gateway Arch. As Derek Lee, first ball swinging. And he's Torres. Throws him out. So Lee, who was safe on his Torres error in the first inning, grounds out to his Torres this time. And there is one away. Now we had Marquis in all kinds of trouble there, and Albert Pujols coming up, but we didn't even have time to mention it was all over so quickly. Marquis has really never been hurt by Albert Pujols. Pujols has not had much success against Marquis.
Well, he hit that ball as hard as you could hit it, but Marquis did a good job of getting a little sink on it and got the ground ball that he needed.
Albert has never had an extra base hit in 16 at-bats against that man, Jason Marquis. Only 4 singles, and this time a double play. Fukudome, the hitter, and he takes ball 2. Fukudome popped up the short his first time.
In a lot of ways, when you watch Fukudome, his stance looks more like Matsui's or the Yankees. But sometimes his approach and his movement in the box looks a little bit like Ichiro. I watched him against the left-handed pitcher a couple of days ago, and he was kind of running toward first and slapping toward left.
3-1.
He doesn't obviously have the power of Matsui, but he's more like Ichiro in his batting average and his run production.
I actually talked to him a little bit before the game, Joe.
And speak Japanese or English?
Well, I spoke my Japanese, and I got a good laugh over it.
Okay.
With Fukudome. Slaps it foul toward the dugout. 3-2 the count. But I asked him who his favorite player was when he was a kid growing up in Japan.
Right.
And it was a guy named Tatsunami. That was his idol. And he said one of the great thrills of his career was that he got to play with Tatsunami briefly when he first signed with the Chunichi Dragons. Another foul out of play, 3-2. But I asked him, well, what kind of a hitter was Tatsunami? Was he a home run hitter? And he said no. He was not a home run hitter. He was not a very big guy. But he hit line drives. And he hit lots of singles and doubles. And that was the guy that Fukudome modeled himself after.
Well, that last swing looked more like Ichiro swinging and moving with 2 strikes.
And this is more like Fukudome getting a walk, and he gets a lot of them, unlike Ichiro.
Well, let's take a look at Matsui's swing. He was obviously called Godzilla in Japan. A little stronger. See, he stays on that back leg. A little more power there. See, you'll see Ichiro drag his foot as he goes through the ball. See how he drags it? That's one of the reasons he doesn't hit for more power, because he's hitting with his upper body. And Matsui uses his lower body a little better. 2 different approaches to hitting. And I'm told by reading articles that Fukudome is a guy that's kind of incorporates a little bit of both. His stance is like Matsui, and sometimes his swing is like Ichiro. So a combination of the 2 maybe, without the power of Matsui.
So as DeRosa takes a strike, 1 ball, 1 strike.
All right, let's take a look at this swing. Now, this reminds you of Ichiro. Look how he extends out, gets out there. Look at the back foot. Kind of drives off of it, swings, and he's moving toward first base when he swings. That's why Ichiro gets a lot of infield hits. He's running toward first, as his first move is toward first base as he's swinging, and he hits a ground ball, and he beats a lot of infield hits out. I don't think Fukudome runs quite as fast as Ichiro.
Not even close, I don't think. Ichiro got great speed,
blazing speed.
And he beats out infield grounders all the time for hits. That's not going to be part of Fukudome's game very often. 1-2 the count. But he's not slow by any means either. He runs well.
He just doesn't run as fast as Ichiro.
Albert Pujols on the bag with Fukudome.
You were saying you talked to him in Japanese and English.
I spoke with him, and he told me about Tatsunami. And I thought it was interesting. I thought maybe it would be a power hitter that would have been his idol as a kid. But a guy who hit for the high average. And Fukudome is very proud of his 2 batting championships in the Central League in Japan. As DeRosa flies out to Schumacher, 2 down.
I would be proud of him, too. The batting championship means you're the best hitter in that league. There you see some numbers.
Now, what we call the rookie seasons, although they were established professional players before they ever got here.
Yeah.
But Matsui drove in 106 runs his first year with the Yankees. Ichiro won the Rookie of the Year, hit 350.
Set a record for rookies with 242 hits. You know, I was trying to make a point earlier about when we were looking at Fukudome's numbers in Japan. You can't equate those numbers to the numbers here. If you take Albert Pujols and put him in the Japanese league, his numbers would be astronomical. The example I use is Tuffy Rhodes. He hit 8 home runs in the big leagues here and hit 412 home runs in Japan. It's not the same. It's the major leagues in Japan, but it's not. These are the best players in the world right here, in the National League and the American League of Major League Baseball. These are the best players in the world, and their numbers would be the best in the world in any league they play in.
Well, I think the fact that these players want to play here,
right, to prove
but
themselves.
have also shown that they're plenty good enough to play here.
They're very good.
They're important men on their team.
Yeah, every player that comes from Japan, sometimes we expect them to be superstars, and we shouldn't. Every player that comes to the major leagues is not a superstar. Every American player is not a superstar. Every Latin player is not a superstar.
When Matsui goes to the Yankees, with all of the attended publicity, being the great Japanese slugger,
right,
and going to the big ballpark in the Bronx, the house that Ruth built, and he wasn't hitting home runs, but Joe Torre was thrilled with the way that he hit. He hit over 300. He drove in 106 runs. He said, hey, he's our best situational hitter. He's a professional hitter. He looks at the situation. He sees where the defense is playing and decides what approach would be best in that at bat. And he was the guy that he really wanted up there when they needed to get the hit to knock in a run or a fly ball or whatever it would take. 3-2, but I beg your pardon, 2 balls and 2 strikes now to Giovanni Soto, who doubled and started a 2-run rally his first time in the second inning. But for him to have the presence of mind, Joe, and I think the confidence, Matsui, when he goes to New York and the home runs are not coming, but he did not start to try to pull the ball and say, I've got to hit home runs. He stayed true to his game and he just had a string of outstanding seasons with the Yankees.
Well, my only deal here is Ichiro has been and has had the most impact on the major league since he's been here. I mean, he's the most valuable player in the league, rookie of the year. I mean, he's a special player. You know, whether he's Japanese or not, he's a special player. And I just think that he is the best of all the players that I've seen come from over there, matching up against the best players here.
Nice pickup at third. And Bloss throws out Soto. The inning is over. Lellemeyer gives up a walk and no more. Ankiel, Bloss, and Duncan coming up. It's 2-2.
So let me get this straight. After 5 years, this Silverado is expected to have better resale value than both Ford and Toyota.
Yep.
And in any given fiscal year, it'll cost me less on fuel.
Best gas mileage of any V8.
Sold. How can I thank you?
No thanks necessary. Let's grab some lunch.
Chevy Silverado has the lowest cost of ownership of any full-size pickup. Chevy Silverado, built to last, built to love.
Can I help you, sir?
It's here to get my driver's license.
Let's see what we got. You have a birth certificate for Mr. Kozowski?
Check.
Eye test?
Pass.
Written test?
Pass.
Drive-in test?
Fail.
Next.
Get more done now. Communicate in less than a second with Nextel Direct Connect. Only on the Now Network.
The Cardinals and the Cubs 2-2 in the rubber match of their 3-game series. The Cardinals who won the World Series just a couple of years ago. And Peter Gammons, it's a lot different looking Cardinal team now.
It is, John. Tony La Russa recently was looking at a picture of those 2006 Cardinals and realized 17 of those guys were gone. They won, down went Busch Stadium, and they disassembled the team. None of the 4 pitchers who started the 5 games against Detroit are currently in the rotation. Chris Carpenter's in Florida rehabbing from surgery. Anthony Reyes was sent down today. Jeff Suppan is across the division in Milwaukee. And Jeff Weaver has no fixed address. Albert Pujols and Yadier Molina are the only Cardinal position players who started each of the 5 World Series games and are still here in St. Louis. Even the general manager, Walt Jocketty, is in exile in Cincinnati. Yet Tony La Russa and pitching coach Dave Duncan have reconstructed the Cardinals to the second best record in the National League without any notable trades or free agent signings. They've encouraged the remarkable development of Rick Ankiel, and Duncan has gathered Adam Wainwright and a cast of other coupon starters to a 15-6 record with a .351 earned run average over the first 5 weeks, which leads them to think, what if they get Mark Mulder and Carpenter back by midseason? They have already convinced the great fans of St. Louis that no matter who leaves, anything is possible. John?
Peter, I have to take exception to the fact he's not exiled in Cincinnati. You know what I mean? He's over there to help them win.
Well, he's in a great place, but he was exiled from St. Louis.
Thank you. He's in a great place.
But that's the way they look at it in St. Louis.
No.
He's giving the St. Louis view.
Oh, okay.
Well, not in St. Louis, you must be in exile.
I'm giving you the Cincinnati view. He's not exiled.
So he left exile.
Well, I don't know.
Become a Cincinnati Red.
Yeah, he's with the Reds. He's not exiled.
1-2 the count to Rick Ankiel facing Jason Marquis. Ooh, struck him out. One away. One down. And here's Troy Gloss. It is interesting, though. Tonight's starting pitcher for the Cardinals, Todd Wellemeyer, following Peter's thread there. He was with Kansas City last year, and they put him on waivers. And the Cardinals were desperate. They had nobody to pitch, so they signed him. He pitched a little bit out of the bullpen. Then they had nobody to start, and he became a starting pitcher, and he did well. A guy that they got for absolutely nothing. Talk about the bargain basement. There's Wellemeyer. Their record in his starts, going back to last year, he's made 17 starts as a Cardinal. They're 12-5 in those games. Gloss lines one with topspin and almost dropped in front of Soriano.
Well, you know, he had that ball all the way, John. I mean, it may have caught it below his knees, but he had that line drive under control all the way. And it was dipping, like you said, had a lot of topspin on it. But see, he had it under control. I mean, it's not a thing of beauty, but he did have it under control.
So you mean it's sort of that old line, oh, I meant to do that.
Yeah, because the ball actually was knuckling probably, and it's really sunk when it got out there.
Here's Chris Duncan, and the curveball misses. Duncan, with the bases loaded in the first inning, hit a shot. And for a moment, looked like it might be a two-run single to right, but Derek Lee intercepted it. And the inning was over. Duncan has got lots of power, over 20 homers in each of his first 2 years in the big leagues. And not that many at-bats. Last year, he had 21 homers, only 375 ABs. 7.5 years in the minor leagues, even though his dad is the pitching coach for the Cardinals. And there's the ball down and away. And his brother Shelley, now with the Yankees. There's Dunk, longtime pitching coach under manager Tony La Russa. His younger brother Shelley is with the Yankees, and he also had a lot of years in the minor leagues. And that's a walk.
That's one of those intentional, unintentional walks. Once he fell behind, he wasn't going to give in to Duncan, who was an excellent low fastball hitter.
So Yadier Molina will come up now. He grounded out to short his first time. We got a 2-2 game in the third inning. Two teams that are at the top of the National League Central Division. The Milwaukee Brewers are also in that neighborhood, although the Brewers, another loss today of a game they led in the ninth inning. Eric Gagne blew another save. So the Brewers at the moment 3 games out. Houston won its game today, and the Astros have come on. They've been actually playing real well now for a while. Houston is the team that came from behind in the ninth inning against Gagne and then won the game in the 12th inning over the Milwaukee Brewers. A ball and a strike to Yadier Molina. The Cardinals have the second best record in the league. Arizona is the team that has the best record in the National League, although they lost to the Mets today. The Mets actually took a series from them in Arizona over the weekend, 2 out of 3. What a matchup they had in Arizona today. Johan Santana for the Mets and Dan Herron for Arizona.
Santana left leading that ball game after 6, 2-1, and Herron pitched great as well.
Waiting for the true hop at third, and DeRosa throws out Molina. 1 man left for the Cardinals. 2-2 the score as we move on to the 4th inning.
Enjoy the great outdoors with a new patio set from Menards. This wrought iron patio set includes 4 spring action chairs and a 42-inch round table with a durable finish, on sale only $199. The Palm Base set includes 2 deep seating chairs, a love seat, a glass top coffee table, and reversible cushions. This entire set is only $499. Plus, there are 0 payments and no interest for 6 months with your Menards Big Card.
Save big money at Menards.
For the latest word on the street, we turn to Kim Carr.
Here at iWireless, customers are raving about My5 with unlimited free nationwide calling to and from any 5 people. Why do you like My5?
My5 allows me to talk to my friends for as long as we want, anytime, anywhere, all for free. And I get unlimited text messaging for only $9.95. Sweet.
Right now, customers get 1,500 nationwide minutes with My5 calling for only $59.95, plus free activation and the new HTC Touch for only $224.95. Why pay more? That's the word on the street.
So many emotions at the end of the season, and nobody likes to talk about it, but one of them is fear. Fear that you could come this far, and it could all end. The dream could die. But me, I like the fear. It means I'm close. It means I'm ready.
The NBA playoffs. Coverage continues Thursday on ESPN.
ESPN Sunday Night Baseball presented by Taco Bell. From St. Louis, Busch Stadium in downtown. In the background is the new single, I Have You to Thank by Gavin DeGraw from his self-titled album, which is being dropped Tuesday. Cubs 2, Cardinals 2 as we head to the 4th inning. Cubs fans in St. Louis in hostile territory. Here is Mike Fontenot to lead off for the Cubs against Todd Wellemeyer, the former Cub, and that's ball 1 a little bit low. Gavin DeGraw, Peter Gammons, who knows everybody in the music world.
I know him, John. His went to Berkeley, not the Berkeley that Jeff and Connor Jackson went to, the Berkeley School of Music, but he's really good.
In Boston.
I downloaded this new CD a couple of days ago, and I ran to it this morning, and it's very good.
You download? I thought it's not going to be out there till Tuesday.
I went to his website.
Oh. 2-1 the count to Fontenot. That's Berkeley, B-E-R-K-L-E-E. Fontenot walked in the second and scored a run. And that's too high. 3 balls and a strike now to Fontenot. Reed Johnson on deck, then Jason Marquis due up 3rd in the inning. We're in the 4th. 2-2 the score. Cardinals have been playing so well early on this year. But if they're really going to have a good season, Joe, I think they needed to play well this early on for a lot of reasons. But a big one is that most of their early games have been here at home. They're going to have to play a lot of road games here starting tomorrow. That's down the left field line. That's a fair ball. Duncan chases after it. And it gets by him. Around second and holding is Fontenot as Duncan quickly recovers. A double for Fontenot.
Well, I think it was important for him to get off to a good start, John, because most people picked them to have a disastrous season because of all the injuries to their pitching staff and the loss of some players. They felt like, you know, Eckstein's gone now. Of course, Roland's gone. This is a different team. So they felt like they were not going to play well. So in order for them to continue to play well, they had to get their confidence level up. And I think winning these early season games has done just that.
Hitting and pitching both have been much better early this year than it was last year. But they played, this is their 32nd game of the year, and their 21st of those that they played here at Busch Stadium. They've only played 11 road games.
Well, success breeds confidence, so they're successful. Now they have the confidence level up to know that they can contend and play with the likes of the Cubs and the Milwaukee Brewers. Although a lot of people felt like they would not be able to at the beginning of the season.
And Major League Baseball, it's not exactly like, say, the Celtics and the Hawks in the NBA playoffs, where home field meant everything.
Yes.
Or home court in the NBA. But in baseball, if you're a good team, you should be able to more than hold your own on the road as well.
Correct.
Looks like the Cardinal bullpen is going to get busy now. You saw the phone calls being made and answered. The Lowe's home team advantage in the starting pitching for the Cardinals at home has been superb. That's one thing that the starters seem to love pitching in this ballpark, at least early on this year. A 2.9 ERA for the starters here at Busch Stadium. So here's Reed Johnson to try to move that runner up with the pitcher Marquis on deck. And the count is 2-0 to him. And that's been a lot of the story for Wellemeyer today. He's had a lot of 2-0s. And now Dave Duncan, the pitching coach, is going to go out for the second time and visit with him. And McClellan, Kyle McClellan, the right-hander, up in the Cardinal bullpen.
And John, that's the story of both of these pitchers. They do not have a good enough fastball that they can throw 2-0 pitch fastballs to hitters or 3-1 fastballs to hitters. They cannot throw fastballs in hitters' counts and get away with it. And they're constantly behind in the count. And I think they're lucky that the score is only 2-2 at this point. Both teams could have scored more runs with all the base runners they've had.
Wellemeyer, after a few words from Dave Duncan, goes back to work. A 2-ball, no strike count to Reed Johnson, who doubled home a run his first time. And got that fastball by him, actually foul tipped at 92 miles an hour. 2-1 the count.
Interesting swing there, John. Nobody out, but he was trying to drive him in. He was not trying to shoot it to right field.
And is that the right approach when the pitcher's up next?
Well, in a lot of cases, yes, but Jason Marquis is a pretty good hitter. And as we'll hear Albert Pujols says, he said earlier, it doesn't mean you just flip it over there. Try to drive it over there as he did there.
2-2 the count.
I mean, you can still get a base hit. See, that was a fastball away, and he was still trying to pull it. This time he goes the other way. Well, that same swing. But in that last pitch, he tried to go the other way and fouled it off.
But now, with 2 strikes, that all changed.
No, it all changed. With 2 strikes, now you're correct. You try to drive him in. And he tried.
Down the left field line, deep into the corner. That is foul. Little out front, little off the end of the bat. Gave it a pretty good ride. 2-2. Reed Johnson hit only .236 for the Blue Jays last year. He finally released him.
Well, you can watch his swing, John, and you can tell he's more of a pull hitter. You know, he pulled the ball down the line earlier, but I mean, he's more of a pull hitter. His swing, the angle of his swing and his approach looks more like the pull hitter than the guy that can shoot the ball the other way.
On a play off to the right. Still 2-2. The battle continues. Runner at second, nobody out after Fontenot's leadoff double. 2-2 the score. There's Fontenot, former LSU product. He and Ryan Terrio both out of LSU. They were teammates there. Shallow right center. Schumacher's got a very strong arm, and Fontenot will not test him. So Wellemeyer wins that duel with Reed Johnson, a wasted out. Wednesday Night Baseball on ESPN, and the Cleveland Indians will be at the big ballpark in the Bronx to take on the New York Yankees. Wednesday Night Baseball presented by Goodyear on ESPN, 7 o'clock Eastern. Ian Kennedy, one of the Yankees' young pitchers, optioned to the minors this week. Phil Hughes on the disabled list, the other young pitcher, and A-Rod, the great slugger, on the disabled list. Here is Jason Marquis, who fouled out to third his first time. Trying to knock in a run. Remember, Marquis has driven in 3 runs this year. Cubs have some pitchers who can handle the bat. Of course, Carlos Zambrano is really good. Really good. Although I don't know if either of them is nearly as good as Micah Owens, the young pitcher of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Have you seen him hit yet?
Yeah, but Zambrano's a starter as well, and he gets more at-bats than Owens does. He doesn't seem to stay in as long as Zambrano does. He gets more at-bats. But I did see him his pinch hit home run.
It tied the game against Houston the other night. A 2-run homer as a pinch hitter from Micah Owens. He's hitting .421 this year. Back to the screen. You see that cut by Marquis. He knows what he's doing up there. Micah Owens has made 6 starts. He's won 4 games, and he's helped himself considerably in doing it with a .421 batting average. And then earlier this week, he helped somebody else win a ball game when he hit a 2-run homer as a pinch hitter in a game he was not otherwise appearing in. Wellemeyer's got it and looks. Fontenot back to second. Out number 2, Marquis retired. The Arizona Diamondbacks first baseman Connor Jackson appeared on ESPN's First Take, and he talked about Micah Owens and how good a hitter he is.
You know, I said it the other day that he's the best hitting pitcher I've ever seen. He's got the most pop on our team, hands down. It's almost like we joke with ourselves. We don't want him in our hitting group because he makes us look bad.
See, he makes the other actual hitters look bad. Here's Alfonso Soriano, and it's 0-1. Soriano knocked in a run with a long sacrifice fly to center in the 2nd inning. Connor Jackson is having a very big early season for that Arizona team.
Well, the team in Arizona is definitely the class of that division, if not the whole league.
0-1 the count. Runner at second with 2 down. 0-2 the count. By the way, when this inning is over, we're going to take a 60-second break, and then we'll come back and visit with Lou Piniella from the Chicago dugout. So stay tuned for that. Soriano, now this is the spot where you'd see a guy as a 5th place hitter a lot. An RBI situation. But Soriano has not really shown himself to be that kind of an RBI man.
Well, when you're a leadoff hitter, if you're hitting with a runner at second base, then you become an RBI man. You're not thinking walk. You're not thinking getting on base. You're thinking driving him in.
Struck him out with that little cutter. A leadoff double for the Cubs, and the runner never moved up a single base. We'll be back with Lou Piniella from the dugout in 60 seconds.
It's been an industry leader for generations. Born of a rich performance heritage. Equipped with breakthrough safety features. And wrapped in a classic, timeless look. We believe great cars take a vision not everyone shares. Test drive the uncompromising E-Class today.
The Kawasaki Go Green sales event. Get the lowest payments of the year now.
It's the Cubs and the Cardinals, those two longtime antagonists going at it here in St. Louis, the rubber match of the series. It's a 2-2 tie, last of the 4th inning coming up, and we are pleased to be joined by the veteran manager of the Chicago Cubs, Lou Piniella from the dugout. Lou, thanks for coming on with us.
Hey, Lou, you guys lead the league in runs scored, but are you any thought of moving Soriano down in the lineup?
Well, Joe, that's been a discussion in Chicago with the people that follow our team and our fans for quite a while. You know, I played with Bobby Bonds in New York, And we traded for him from the Giants for Bobby Mercer. And they put him in the 4th hole, and boy, he floundered. And all of a sudden, 2 months into the season, they put him back where he was familiar in that 1 hole, and he really, really flourished and had just a 40-40 season, over 100 RBIs, and was a great player he always was. I think Soriano's the same type player as Bobby Bonds, so I like him in the 1 hole. He feels comfortable there.
All right. Thanks.
All right.
Lou, thank you very much.
Thank you, fellas.
Yeah, that's Lou Piniella, the manager of the Chicago Cubs. And that's an interesting thought.
It was an interesting comparison.
Because I know when the Giants saw Soriano for the first time when he was with Washington, a lot of people around the Giants were saying, man, he reminds us a lot of Bobby Bonds. As there is one away, Wellemeyer is out number 1. Wellemeyer, who actually started a 2-run rally in the 2nd with a base hit. But it's true, and you played against him. I mean, Bobby Bonds was a great player, but Bobby Bonds seemed to be at his very best hitting in the leadoff spot.
Yeah, well, I mean, he was comfortable there. I was asked this question earlier today. You take Tony Gwynn, he was one of the best hitters in the history of the game, but he wasn't a 3rd-place hitter. We always want to put hitters in certain spots simply because of what they do best, but sometimes it doesn't fit, and that's what he's saying about Soriano. Soriano is more comfortable hitting in the leadoff spot. He likes it there, and he's had some good years there. So why would you move him?
His tourist hitter takes a curveball that misses.
And it's the same thing with Tony Gwynn. I remember when they took Tony Gwynn, tried to hit him 3rd, for a long period of time. He's one of the best hitters ever. But he didn't like hitting 3rd, apparently, and he moved back to 1st, where, he prospered. So it's not always as simple as we would like for it to be.
That's a base hit for his tourist, and he is 2 for 2 against Jason Marquis. Peter Gammons to weigh in.
Well, guys, one of the things that Lou talked to me about yesterday is when you have a really good player, close to a star type of player like Soriano, you want to get it. It's not that you want to make him happy. You just want to make him comfortable and get him to perform his best for him. And Lou really feels that, so that's where Soriano wants to hit. That's where he plays best. He's not going to move him into the 7th slot. He's not going to defense for him. He's trying to get the most out of a great player.
And I agree with that. That's why, I was.
There goes the runner as Schumacher bounces it to Derek Lee, and this tourist has moved over to 2nd. Schumacher is now 1 for 3 in the game. And with 2 down, Adam Kennedy will come up. And Pujols out on deck.
And Peter, that's why I use the analogy with Tony Gwynn. I mean, he was one of the best hitters in the history of the game, but he wasn't a 3rd-place hitter. So, guys fit different spots personality-wise. And apparently, Soriano's personality fits there. Albert Pujols, by the same token, he fits in the middle of the lineup because that's where he wants to be. That's where he loves to be. So you couldn't put him at leadoff and say, go hit leadoff, Albert. He wouldn't enjoy it there. He wouldn't like to hit there. He wants to be where the action is.
Willie Mays was a 3rd-place hitter.
Right, and he could hit leadoff, but he was a 3rd-place hitter.
The only time he ever hit leadoff was in All-Star games.
Yeah. Right, so they could get him more at bats and get him on base.
Well, part of managing is being a psychologist.
Right, well, my point, Peter, with managing is to get the most out of the players that you have, however you have to use them. Like you said, it's kind of like a chess match. Maybe this king doesn't like to move forward at this time, or you move a pawn. There are a lot of different things you do, but you get the best out of the players. That's the manager's job.
That's the way I play chess. I like the pieces to move themselves.
Yeah, move by themselves.
It's always goes bad when I have to move them. 3-0, as you know so very well. 3-0 the count to Adam Kennedy with Albert Pujols on deck. Although Jason Marquis had never really had too many problems with Albert Pujols, including tonight.
I wouldn't bet on that to continue, though.
The more he sees him, the more likely he is that Albert's going to get him, you think. Albert's only 4 for 16 against him, and all 4 of the hits were singles. Tonight he has struck out and grounded into a double play against him. 3-1 the count. And that's ball 4. Albert Pujols visited with Joe before the game.
say a pitcher makes a great pitch knee high and away, you adjust to that by not swinging at it, right? Is that what you mean?
Well, definitely, because or let's say he got you with a pitch inside or a curveball. You know, somehow your nets are bad. He might go to that pitch. Right. So you want to make sure that if he throws that pitch again, you want to show him that you're ready for that pitch. Because most of the time, I bring my game plan to the game. Mm-hmm. And if that guy's not working me the same way that he has in the past, I'm adjusting myself. You know, I don't gonna go for 4 out there and don't make an adjustment. I try to make an adjustment every single at bat if I can.
And so this is good. Let's see what he does here.
He's 0 for 2. That's ball 1.
And the first time up, he got him out with a slider. He hit a fastball very hard. So what would you expect him to try to get him out with? A slider, right? Because he hit the fastball hard last time up. So let's see if he sets him up to get to the slider.
He hit it hard, but right to the shortstop into an inning-ending double play. 2 down. That is over the inside corner for a strike.
Well, that's a backup slider. It was on the inside part of the plate. It wasn't out over the plate. It's a slider, but it's not a real good slider.
And it wasn't where it was supposed to be thrown either.
Exactly.
A ball and a strike to Albert. 2 men on, 2 men out. He's Turnes at second. Kennedy at first. A 2-2 game. Down the third base line. A fair ball. Turnes will score. Soriano digs it out. Being waved home. Kennedy. Here's the relay by Terrio. Cut off. A 2-run double for Albert Pujols. 4-2 Cardinals.
Well, he made the adjustment for the slider, but it's a hanging slider. This is not where Marquis wants this pitch to be, but he rips it down the left field line. See, it's supposed to be a little slide piece inside. Wasn't much on it. May have been another backup slider because it didn't do a lot. Yeah, it was, because it backed up. It did not break much, and it definitely wasn't his fastball. Although it looked like that. Looks like a backup slider will look like a mediocre fastball because all it does is spin a little bit.
Albert now with 23 RBIs for the year. And he's had to take him where he can get him because he doesn't often see pitchers they hit when there are men on base. Ankiel pops it up. And this is the third baseman, DeRosa, to end the inning. Albert Pujols does that thing. He does so very well. 4-2 Cardinals. Terrio, Lee, and Fukudome coming up.
An all-new E60, Tuesday at 7 on ESPN.
One moment we were feeling spontaneous.
Surprise, I'm home.
The next, we are happily interrupted. Hey, there's no problem for guys like me with ED. There's Cialis. Cialis is the only erectile dysfunction tablet clinically proven to both go to work fast in as little as 30 minutes for some men and work up to 36 hours. No other ED tablet can do both. Sure, Cialis can work fast, but having up to 36 hours is a great option. And working only when it should means I can respond to Deb only when we're ready. Tell your doctor about your medical condition and all medications, and ask if you're healthy enough for sexual activity. Don't take Cialis if you take nitrates for chest pain, as this may cause an unsafe drop in blood pressure. Don't drink alcohol in excess with Cialis. Side effects may include headache, upset stomach, delayed backache, or muscle ache. To avoid long-term injury, seek immediate medical help if you experience an erection lasting more than 4 hours. If you have any sudden decrease in hearing or vision, stop taking Cialis and call your doctor right away. Why ask your doctor about Cialis? Because when the moment is right, you can be ready.
There are many roads we could have gone down, but only one led to Rocky Mountain Water for a smooth drinking beer. And only one led to High Country Barley for a full-flavored taste. It's the only road we've ever taken. And since 1873, we welcome folks like you to come along for the ride. Coors, the banquet beer.
Great game today.
Yeah, I got 2 doubles, but I struck out once.
Yeah, but you and your teammates never gave up, even when the going got tough. That's way bigger than stats. You know how many times I struck out my rookie year?
125. But you did have 28 home runs. friends.
There's nothing like positive support, and there's no place like the Boys and Girls Clubs of America. Together with Major League Baseball, they create a positive place for kids.
That's Busch Stadium in St. Louis, the new downtown home of the Cardinals. Third season of baseball in this new ballpark. And the Cardinals are leading 4-2 as we head to the fifth inning. Albert Pujols with a 2-out, 2-run double to put them ahead as Ryan Theriot now will try and get something going in front of the power. Derek Lee on deck, then Kosuke Fukudome. Remember, Aramis Ramirez is not playing. He got hit by a pitch here Friday night. And the arm swelled up a little bit. He did not play yesterday. He's not in there tonight. And that's a big bat missing from the Cubs lineup. And the count goes to 2-1. And Joe, you can tell that these games mean a little bit more when they're head-to-head, just like the Red Sox and Yankees.
And the Phillies and the Mets. I mean, you're going to have to beat this team. If you're the Cardinals, you're going to have to beat the Cubs. The Cubs were the champions last year. You're going to have to beat them to show them that you can play with them and that you can win the division.
Cubs went 11-5 against the Cardinals last year.
And we know that the Phillies won the last 8 last year against the Mets to win the division.
3-2 to Theriot. A little bit low, and he walks for the second time.
He wasn't sure.
Derek Lee coming up. Here's Steve Berthiaume with the Sports Center right now.
John, Chicago Bears running back Cedric Benson was released from jail earlier today after failing a sobriety test while operating a 30-foot boat in Austin, Texas. Benson also faces charges of resisting arrest. He had to be pepper sprayed and dragged ashore by officers. And Jim Leland has promised big changes to the Tigers lineup tomorrow night on ESPN against the Red Sox. Today, Detroit blew a 6-run lead and lost to the Twins 7-6. Sports Center follows the Cubs and Cards. Stay current with ESPN News.
The Minnesota Twins are hot. They've won 5 in a row. They lead the Central Division now by a game and a half over the White Sox, who've lost 5 in a row. And Kansas City is now in 3rd place ahead of both Cleveland and Detroit. And there is the bullpen for the Cardinals. Kyle McClellan, the rookie right-hander, will start to throw again. But Tony La Russa is not really giving a long leash to Wellemeyer here. He had McClellan get up in the 4th inning, and now again here in the 5th inning as Lee drives one foul off the right field line. Lou Piniella had some action very early in his bullpen as well in the 2nd inning. So both managers want this game badly.
Well, it's the rubber game. I mean, it makes a difference. It's, you know, it's 2 games in the standings technically, because if you win, you gain 1. If you lose 1. So that's a 2-game swing there.
And whoever wins also gains ground in Milwaukee after the Brewers could not hold their lead against Houston. Suddenly you've got 4 teams in the division either at 500 or above. It was a while, maybe 10 days ago, it looked like the Astros were going to have a long year, and they played real well since then. What a lineup they've got. That's a strike to Derek Lee. 2-2. Lee's hit 2 ground balls to short. One was an error. See the standings there. Houston 16-16 now with their very strong recent stretch. Struck him out.
Excellent breaking ball there.
And Derek Lee had not been able to do much with Todd Wellemeyer tonight.
Well, he made a very good pitch 2 pitches ago. Pitch on the inside corner. Now he gets him to chase the breaking ball away. Nice pitch.
Derek Lee had never faced Wellemeyer before tonight in a big league game. Wellemeyer, of course, his former teammate. Wellemeyer was originally drafted by the Chicago Cubs. There's ball 1 to Fukudome, who has popped up to short and walked. Wellemeyer grew up in Louisville, Kentucky, and he was a great Cubs fan. And he just badly wanted to be drafted by the Cubs, and he was. But ultimately, the Cubs sent him off. And now here he is playing for the Cubs' arch rivals, the Cardinals. little bit low on the outside. And now the plate umpire DeMuro takes his mask off and starts hollering at the Cardinal dugout.
Well, Wellenmeyer started it because he stood there and kind of stared at that pitch. He didn't think it was too low. And then he got help from the Cardinal dugout on the fact that it wasn't too low. So you can see height from the dugout. You can't really tell if the ball's over the plate or not, but you can see height.
2-0. Change up. Foul off to the left, out of play. Mark DeRosa on deck. This again would be the spot where Aramis Ramirez would ordinarily be hitting. There's La Russa. You can see him right between the batter and the catcher.
See whether it's high or low. You just can't see if it's over the plate. And he saw Wellenmeyer looking in because he didn't think the pitch was low. Usually when the yelling from the dugout comes on pitches high or low because they can see that very well.
Back to the screen. 2-2 to Fukudome.
Well, let's take a look at this pitch that was in question. This is from K-zone. And you can see clearly it is low and off the plate.
More off the plate even than low.
Yeah, but from the dugout, you can see that it wasn't low, or in your mind it wasn't low, and that's what Wellenmeyer was arguing about.
Remember, it's not where the catcher catches it, it's where it is as it crosses the plate. As the runner goes, Terrio. And he's gone. Yadier Molina, a one-hop throw, and his tourist took the rest into his own hands.
I mean, he got rid of this ball very quickly. He didn't even get up because he didn't have time to get up and make a strong throw. He just threw it from his knees. Watch this throw. So he throws on his knees and gets rid of it quickly. And good job by his tourist. And a good job by Molina.
A standing ovation for Yadier Molina. So they all saw it. Fukudome into right field. Schumacher. The inning is over. When's the last time you saw a catcher get a standing ovation for throwing out a base runner? They appreciate what Yadier Molina brings to the game.
I need you. I need you every single day, and I want you. I want you every single way, and I need you. I need you every single day, and I want you. I want you every single way, and it's love, it's love, it's love, it's la 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 la, it's love, it's love, it's love, it's la 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 la, it's love.
This place is great.
Oh, see what I see? Oh. Yeah, we're gonna send her a plate of bacon.
Bacon? Oh, it's a little too aggressive. Let's send her a cheese omelet.
No, an English muffin. It's more proper.
What about a hot cinnamon roll?
Cinnamon roll? Well, that's something you send your sister. I'm gonna send her some bacon.
Compliments of those guys. Oh, yogurt. Check out the new hot bar in town, the Holiday Inn Express Hot Breakfast Bar.
See, you guys don't know anything about women.
Whoa! That must be the coolest job in the world.
Actually, kid, I'm a fighter pilot. He's the lawn pro.
Mow like the pros and cut your mowing time in half with the amazing Toro Time Cutter Z. Visit toro.com/Z to learn more.
The following is rated SX. Viewer discretion advised. Road and Track says a welcome alternative to all those Civics, Corollas, and Sentries. Motor Trend says Suzuki is hot and has no plans of cooling down. CarAndDriver.com calls it the cure for the common Corolla. The all-new Suzuki SX4 Sport. Now playing at your local Suzuki dealer. It's gonna be a great ride. Right now, get 0% financing for 60 months on all Suzukis. Hurry in.
Kurt Schilling's bloody sock. Seems suspicious. I'm going over some game stats, and I see Schilling shake dirt out of his sock. I don't know. The ankle looked fine to me.
Maybe the first game for that young Cubs fan here in St. Louis. It looks like Mom is a Cardinal fan, though, in her Cardinal red. Strike one, the count to Troy Gloss. Gloss, the powerful third baseman, but not hitting home runs so far as a Cardinal. And that's inside. A ball and a strike. Gloss has only one home run. This is a guy who has had 5 different seasons with 30 or more home runs. He's had a couple of years where he had over 40. He's had 4 seasons driving in over 100 runs. And he was the World Series MVP in 2002. They acquired him in a trade that sent Scott Rowland off to the Toronto Blue Jays. 1-2 the count. Gloss has been knocking in runs, but not with power. He's had an extraordinary number of chances to knock in runs. He had 47 official at bats with runners in scoring position as Marquis misses high. 2 balls, 2 strikes to count to Troy Gloss with Chris Duncan and Yadier Molina to follow. What a play that was by Yadier Molina. It kind of put me in mind of Benito Santiago, who used to regularly throw from his knees. Did he swing? Yes. First base umpire Larry Vanover rings him up. 1 away. And Yadier Molina comes out on deck. Gloss heads back to the dugout. Here's that throw again, Joe.
Catcher wants to come forward when the guy's running so he can throw. Now watch, he starts forward. The ball is down and in. He has no choice but to reach and get it. Now he can't get his balance, so he throws from his knees, and he made a perfect throw. 1 hopper to second base.
And that's a swing, says Tim McClellan. There really was nothing he's practiced. I mean, that's he had to invent that just at the moment.
Because you always try to go forward as a catcher. So your momentum is going towards second base. And there you see his momentum. He gets his momentum going that way, but he couldn't stand and make the throw. He just threw it from his left knee, hitting the ground, and got rid of it.
And Duncan takes a strike. When the inning ended, he went back into the dugout, and he was getting a standing ovation from the crowd. And his teammates came over and showed him how much they appreciated that amazing play. Now it's 2-2 to Duncan. Molina on deck. He's the 3rd of the catching Molina brothers. His oldest brother, Benji, with the Giants. His middle brother, Jose Molina, catcher with the Yankees. Did he swing? Yeah, strike 3. So consecutive strikeouts to start the inning for Marquis. And now Yadier Molina. Yadier is the youngest of the 3 Molinas. Benji is he's now the cleanup hitter for the Giants. Jose Molina is doing a lot of catching for the Yankees now that Jorge Posada is on the disabled list for the first time. And all 3 of the catching Molina brothers have World Series rings. Benji and Jose got theirs the same season for the Angels. Yadier Molina, of the 3 Molinas, he's apparently the toughest to strike out. He may be the toughest to strike out in all Major League Baseball. Only once every 25.5 plate appearances. He was the MVP of the League Championship Series the year before last against the Mets. He had a home run to beat the Mets in that League Championship Series.
Final game of the series.
And that was after he had just a horrible year with the bat, and then he had a spectacular postseason. And he'd been a much better hitter in the regular season since that year. 2-1 the count. Peter Gammons.
Well, their father was a great catcher in Puerto Rico, and has been a mentor to many players. Once in a baseball school, and that's really they all grew up catching. And it's just such an unusual thing for a whole family of catchers.
I would have thought that by the 2nd or 3rd brother they'd be wanting to play third base or second base or something.
Want to do something different.
I would have thought Benji would have said, you know, you get beat up back there, play first base. Much better for your body. 2-2 the count. The pitcher, Wellemeyer, due up next, but Barton is out on deck just in case. 4-2, the Cardinals lead. 2 down in the 5th. And Yadier fights one off.
John, I forgot to tell you about my weekend before I got here. My Kentucky Derby experience. I'll have to tell you about it next inning.
You went to the Derby?
I went to the Kentucky Derby with former National League President Lynn Coleman. I was his guest.
Former Major Leaguer and Hall of Famer Joe Morgan, now a gentleman of leisure. Terrio throws out Yadier Molina. On to the 6th inning. Well, it was nice of you to come to St. Louis for this game.
Oh, yeah.
Nice to fit us in like that.
So, you're a green person, but which shade? Confusing, isn't it? Well, True Value's Color Made Simple can help. With exclusive tools, trained professionals, and expert advice, finding your color will always be simple. Now let's talk purple. True Value's Color Made Simple.
Meeting the challenge since 1940.
You're witnessing a blind taste test with a coffeehouse double shot blended cream latte and Big Ten Mart's Mountain Brew coffee. Which will Tiffany choose?
This one is hot.
There you have it, folks. Tiffany chose the Big Ten Mart Mountain Brew coffee over the expensive other brand.
Pop a Pack, a Vita Pack from GNC. Everything you need, every day, in one convenient pack. And GNC's nutritional science team has designed a range of Vita Packs with ingredients that offer lots of different benefits. So, pop by GNC and choose the pack that's right for you. Vita Packs, another simply healthy idea from GNC. GNC, live well.
How's he doing? I'm worried. I know. But at least you prepared for times like these. We got some solid financial advice and a good plan to help grow and protect our money. Are you me? A few years from now. Oh, have fun in Italy. Italy. You're going next year with Bill.
He's going to be all right.
Get to know your future self with Lincoln Financial Group at lincolnfinancial.com. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, presented by Taco Bell. Brought to you by Chevy, an American Revolution, and GNC. At GNC, we believe a quality life starts from within. Live well.
Sunday Night Baseball from St. Louis. I'm Jon Miller with Joe Morgan and Peter Gammons. And there's a broken bat by DeRosa, fielded by East Torres. One away. That was all against the new pitcher, Kyle McClellan, the rookie right-hander who is a native of this area from Florissant, Missouri. Lives now in Maryland Heights, Missouri.
Great story in the paper about him today and his long trek to the major leagues. And they call him a combination reliever. I guess that means he can set up at the end of the game, or he can come in early, as he's doing here, and get you to the setup man.
Todd Wellemeyer had thrown 95 pitches, so they have removed him from the game. And also, this is part of a double switch. There is Ryan Ludwig, who goes in to play right field. Schumacher has moved. That was Schumacher we just looked at, moving from right to left. And Ludwig is now in the game in right field. And he'll be inserted in the number 8 spot in the order and lead off in the last half of this inning. And that's no pitch. Timeout was called. 0-2 the count to Giovanni Soto, who has doubled and scored a run and who's grounded out. So Wellemeyer went 5 innings, but at the moment it's his game to win. He only allowed 3 hits. And the cutter is in the dirt. 1 ball and 2 strikes. So Chris Duncan is out of the game now. Kyle McClellan, only 23 years old. He was a 25th round draft choice in 2002. Curveball. Wow.
Big-time curveball. That one froze everyone.
Soto 1 for 3.
Now watch this pitch. Watch it freezes. Big hesitation, a big break, and by the time Molina caught it, it was off the plate, but it did catch the plate as it broke over. Look at that. Almost a straight downer. Very rarely do you see that pitch anymore.
Fontenot. That's the pitch. I mean, it looks like a magic trick.
Right. It's hard. And the real problem with it is hard to throw it for a strike because there's so much movement on it, and it's hard to. It's tough for the umpire to make the right call.
Kyle McClellan with a 1.69 ERA. And that strikeout is his 15th strikeout versus only 2 walks so far.
Well, what you like about him most, John, is that he's ready to go. I mean, that helps keep your infielders on their toes.
He works quickly. Fastball just missing. 3-1. 95 miles an hour. The radar gun reading on that one. Kyle McClellan. He was the 762nd player chosen in the draft of 2002. And he walks Mike Fontenot, who reaches for the 3rd straight time. 2 walks and a double for Fontenot. And now Reed Johnson will come up. So La Russa will try and piece together the rest of this game. He's got a 4-2 lead. And one thing that has been a concern lately is Lou Piniella is checking the records, checking the intelligence reports. And a slider is off the outside. And now Molina is going to go out and talk to Kyle McClellan with a count of 1 ball and no strikes. But a little concerned about their closer, Jason Isringhausen, who's really been getting knocked around lately, including here on Friday night against the Cubs. Monday Night Baseball tomorrow night at 7 Eastern. The Red Sox and the Tigers from Comerica Park in Detroit. Red Sox are starting to roll again, and Big Papi is hitting the ball like Big Papi. It'll be Daisuke Matsuzaka against Jeremy Bonderman.
Was there ever any doubt?
I think even Big Papi was starting to wonder. He was in such a slump at the start.
You maybe wonder, but not doubt. He was just wondering when it was going to start.
Frank Robinson went through a slump. It wasn't even as bad as Big Papi's. Broken back by Johnson, and Troy Gloss gets him. 1 man left. Down to the last of the 6th inning. Ludwig, Izturis, Schumacher coming up. 4-2 St. Louis.
What does the GMC Spring Collection mean to you? It means not sacrificing capability for fuel economy. Acadia, better highway fuel efficiency than any 8-passenger SUV. Sierra, the best available V8 fuel economy in a full-size pickup. And Yukon Hybrid, the first full-size hybrid SUV. The GMC Spring Collection. Now current vehicle owners and lessees get $4,000 total customer cash on all Sierra 1500 extended and crew cab models. The Spring Collection. See them now at your local GMC dealer.
On May 9th, the creators of the Matrix trilogy will take you on the ride of your life.
He's going to be good.
No. He's going to be the best. Speed Racer is being called high-octane entertainment. Visually stunning. Spectacular. It will blow your mind.
Wait, get out of there! I can't move!
You've never seen anything like it. Speed Racer. Rated PG. In theaters and IMAX May 9th.
Coors Light. It's a frost-brewed beer. It's a beer brewed down as cold as 34 degrees. Aged cold. Filtered cold. Put into bottles, cans, and kegs. Cold. Why? We know you like cold beer. So ask for a beer with a taste as cold as the Rockies. Because refreshment isn't everything. It's the only thing. Frost-brewed Coors Light. The world's most refreshing beer.
Sunday Night Baseball, our 19th season on Sunday nights. 4-2. Not the Tigers and the Angels, by the way. That was last Sunday night. We've got the Cardinals and the Cubs. 4-2 Cardinals as we go to the last of the 6th inning. Boys and Girls Clubs of America is the official charity of Major League Baseball, reaching more than 4 million kids worldwide. Together, they create a positive place for kids. And there's a lot of kids here tonight, both Cardinal fans and Cubs fans. Cubs fans kind of descend on St. Louis whenever the Cubs come to town, as Marquis misses just inside. Well, I mean, he misses way off the inside and just missed Ryan Ludwig.
I was going to say that was just inside. Okay.
Just a bit inside. Just missed him. Ludwig hitting .303, 4 homers, 15 batted in. Just inside again.
Well, I guess we know how they want to pitch him.
You think they want to crowd him? Yeah. Cesar Izturis on deck, and then Skip Schumacher, the leadoff man, due up 3rd in the inning. Cardinals lead 4-2. And that's a foul off to the right of the Cardinal dugout. Tony La Russa met with the President of the United States, President George W. Bush, on Friday here in St. Louis. The President was in town to speak to a group. Here's the 2-1 pitch, and that's ball 3. And he had a banquet that he attended, a fundraising dinner in New York on Thursday night, and his flight was canceled coming back in. He was supposed to be here to greet the president when he arrived. He could not do so. That's a base hit for Ludwig. And so he ended up waiting for the president and wishing him well before the president took off. But he also got a tour of Air Force One, and he said that was just a sensational thrill.
I'm sure it was.
Tony La Russa, he's on that short list. Connie Mack, who owned the team that he managed for 50 years. John McGraw, Muggsy. He's tourist to Derek Lee, and that will move Ludwig over to second base. And the first time that he's tourist is retired in this game. He's now 2 for 3. And here comes Lou Piniella with Schumacher, a lefty, and Kennedy, another lefty behind him coming up. And he's got a left-hander up in his bullpen, Sean Marshall, and he's going to make a change right here. So Marquis goes 5 1/3, departs trailing 4-2, and Marshall will come in to face Schumacher with a runner at second. 1 out. We'll be right back.
Every day, millions of people choose to do the right thing. There's an insurance company that does that too. Responsibility. What's your policy? Liberty Mutual Insurance.
This Valencia orange has been left to ripen on the tree for a whole year. Its color is rich, and its flavor is exquisitely luscious. So this juice is not simply orange juice. This is pure Valencia, the best juice Tropicana has ever made.
See you tomorrow, Steve.
Do not let her get gum. You know
That's Tony Stewart!
Tony, get the camera!
I've got the camera. Oh, Tony, he's a huge fan. Ready?
Tony, you okay?
Armor All wash, wipes, and tire shines. Go ahead, stare. Check out Tony's win in the Armor All card, armorall.com.
I'm with you.
I'm with my fountain of youth.
I'm with my best friend. I'm with my hero.
I'm with the advisor I trust. With
wonderful thing. A.G. Edwards is now with Wachovia Securities. See what happens when you're with.
Jason Marquis against his old team, the St. Louis Cardinals, departs trailing 4-2. With one out here in the 6th inning and a runner at second base, Ryan Ludwig, who led off the inning with a single. And now Sean Marshall, the tall left-hander, in to face the left-handed hitting Skip Schumacher, who is 1 for 3. First ball swinging and a foul into the crowd off to the left. Marshall had been sort of the specialist out of the Cubs bullpen. 10 games with only 5 in the 3rd innings pitched. So often he's facing 1 or 2 hitters at a time, Joe.
Well, he's got a pretty good sinking fastball. He throws a cutter. And he throws a changeup and a curve.
We saw his Major League debut on Sunday Night Baseball a couple of years back at Wrigley Field against the Cardinals.
He was a starter then.
He tags out Schumacher. Might have broken his bat, too.
Might have.
Might have broken his bat into 1,000 pieces. So Schumacher is out. 2 down.
Second baseman, Adam Kennedy.
A lot of times left-handers fall off to the first base side.
So 2 down, Adam Kennedy. I remember he was pitching pretty well in that first inning of his first game against the Cardinals, and then Scott Rowland blasted a 2-run homer out onto Waveland Avenue against him. Adam Kennedy has not been retired tonight. He takes a called strike. He's had 2 walks and an RBI single. 4-2, the Cardinals lead. The lead came in the 4th inning on a 2-run, 2-out double by Albert Pujols. Adam Kennedy hitting .319 for the year. Little bloop, left center, falling. Base hit. Kennedy delivers in the clutch. 5-2 Cardinals. His second hit, his second RBI.
Well, good job by Kennedy to fight this pitch off. And he's got that slight uppercut in his swing, so he lifts this ball over the infielder's head. He broke his bat. So he's broken both of the left-handed hitters' bats. One off the end of the bat. This one's off the end of the bat, as you can see, right off the end. And the one to Ludwig shattered his bat on the handle. Here's a look at what Albert Pujols has done tonight. He struck out in the first on a slider away. He nailed the fastball back up the middle into a double play. And then he took a slider and drove in 2 runs as he pulled it down the left field line.
So Albert with a runner at first. Now facing Marshall. He's 3 for 8 lifetime against Marshall. Curveball in the dirt. Now there's another lefty on deck. So I'm thinking, Joe, would not be that big a surprise to see him pitch around Albert and go after Ankiel instead.
Well, that's what they would do if Barry Bonds was hitting him out now. And he is getting the Bonds treatment lately.
Ball and no strikes. And back to first is Kennedy. It was kind of getting on Albert's nerves, too, because he'd never been walked this often, never seen so many pitches out of the strike zone.
Well, I asked him how he was going to handle it, and he basically said that he was going to give his teammates a chance to pick him up. He said he's going to take his walks.
2-0. And you saw Chad Fox getting ready in the bullpen now.
And he's reached base in all 32 of the Cardinals games this year with that double last time. He's been on base in every game this year by a hit or a walk.
He's had 38 hits, 32 walks, and he's been hit twice. I don't think Marshall's that interested.
You can see that. And Pujols knows he's not interested either. He didn't even stride on that pitch.
3-0 the count. Nowhere close. 33rd walk of the year for Pujols. He's walked more often than any hitter in the big leagues. Barry Bonds had got on his nerves for a long time. Gary Sheffield.
Right.
There was a time when he was with Florida. He was getting walked over and over again, and it was playing with his head.
It takes a special discipline to be able to, stay within yourself and not chase pitches out of the strike zone.
So here's Ankiel, lefty versus lefty. On the fist, pops it up. Soto, and that is the inning. And that's why Marshall was pitching around Albert. To the 7th, 4-5-2 Cardinals.
Do you smell bacon? Oh, yeah. It's a Bacon Club chalupa. Guys love bacon.
Hey, how's it going?
Irresistible. Taco Bell's Bacon Club chalupa is back. Bacon lovers rejoice.
Smells good.
The coupe has been reshaped. The all-new BMW X6.
Your mama's so ugly she threw a boomerang and never came back.
Your mama's so ugly the plastic surgeon sued her.
Your mama's so ugly they renamed Halloween Yo Mama Ween.
Your mama's so ugly she made a mime scream.
Ni mama hao shou yang chong ya ke lei.
Energy, focus, control. Amp Energy. Amp yourself.
All right, firefighters, settle down. How about the budget? And the taxes?
One page or less.
Anyone want better roads?
We do.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Done. A lot of paper to tell us we need clean water. Need clean water, guys? All right, this is the easiest job I've ever had. We're out of here.
Get more done now. Communicate with groups in less than a second with Nextel Direct Connect. Only on the Now Network.
At age 41, this swimmer's poised to make a record 5th Olympic team.
This will be the story of the Olympic Games.
Plus, meet mixed martial arts fighter Kimbo Slice. An all-new E60, Tuesday at 7 on ESPN.
Jon Miller, Joe Morgan, and Peter Gammons with you. And the pinch hitter, Ronnie Cedeno, gets hit on the first pitch from Kyle McClellan to start the 7th inning off. Cedeno set up there to bat for Marshall, trying to get something going, and on one pitch he is given first base, being hit by the pitch. Now Pinella's top of the order will come up. Tony La Russa trying to get this to Isringhausen, his closer, but Isringhausen has struggled lately, Joe, and I would guess anxious to get back out there to try and turn it around. And Soriano takes a strike. Soriano is 0 for 2 with a sacrifice fly. Cedeno, the runner at first. Pujols on the bag with him. And that'll be out of place. So Soriano's been behind 0-2 all night long.
Yeah. And he's been behind the fastball, which is his bread and butter pitch. But it's hard to sit out for a long period of time, unless it's in spring training where you have time to catch up. But
curveball right over his head. Well, he's only playing in his 17th game.
Right.
The Cubs rather are playing the 31st game.
And the first 5 or 6 of those, John, you're just back. You're not even thinking about getting in a groove. You're just back trying to keep your head above water. Just keep fighting it off.
Up the middle, base hit. Cedeno will stop at second as Ankiel is up with it. So he was behind in the count, but he gets a base hit, his first of the night. And the Cubs have something going here in the 7th inning. 2 men on, nobody out. And here comes Dave Duncan out. to the mound. We were talking about Isringhausen and his struggles lately. And Kerry Wood has had some struggles. He's had 3 blown saves this year, including Thursday in a game against the Milwaukee Brewers, which was especially devastating because the Brewers are one of the teams in the division that figures to contend this year. It's Flores. Randy Flores is up in the Cardinal bullpen, a left-hander. Peter Gammons, Kerry Wood making the move from always being a starting pitcher, now the closer for the Cubs, but it has not always gone smoothly.
No, it hasn't. And I think one of the things that's really surprised Lou Piniella and Larry Rothschild is they thought because of Kerry's makeup, he would just go out to that bullpen, come after hitters and say, you know what, I'm Kerry Wood and you ain't, and just throw fastballs. But he's been to it twice. He's come in and saved situations and hit the first batter. One time it was great counsel the other day. So he's still getting used to the job instead of being just that guy, that gunslinger.
And it is different.
Definitely a different situation than starting. And a lot of people, you know, Tony La Russa, a lot of people say the last 3 outs are the toughest to get in the ball game. But I always felt like Kerry Wood would be perfect for the closer role because he's got the toughness that it takes and he's got the great stuff that it takes.
3-0, and McClellan is 1 pitch away from loading the bases with the slugger Derek Lee coming up next. Five to 2, the Cardinals lead. There's a fastball strike. The Cubs trying to make their comeback right here. Cedeno was hit by a pitch. Soriano single. 2 men on. Strike 2. 3-2 to Terrio, who has walked twice already in this game and has also grounded out once.
That was an interesting take there. You get a 3-1 fastball right there. And you take it. Now if he makes a good pitch, you could be in trouble.
And that was a tough pitch right in under the hands.
Yeah.
Able to foul it off. Still 3-2. Terrio back in the box now. Outfield straight away. The infield double play deep. Cedeno's at second. Soriano's at first. Base hit to left field. Cedeno will be held at third with nobody out. And Lee coming up. Their number 1 slugger. La Russa talking to the bullpen.
A little surprised that they held Cedeno up because he runs well. And you can put pressure on him to make the throw, a bad throw or something, and get Soriano to third base.
Mike Quaddy playing it very conservatively.
This was a ground ball. It wasn't a line drive. Ground ball takes a while to get to the outfielder. And Cedeno runs well, but I mean, I can see where he was being cautious with Derek Lee coming up, but every run is important.
Lee with 8 grand slams, and a grand slam would put the Cubs ahead right here. Lee is 0 for 3 tonight. It's safe on an error by Izturis, grounded out to Izturis, the shortstop, and he has struck out. Shallow right, Ludwig, just a pop-up. The runners have to hold. Derek Lee not able to move anybody up.
No, you never know what's going to happen, John. That's why I said it. When you have a chance to score the run, you score the run. A lot of different things can happen.
So now the left-handed hitting Fukudome is next with the bases loaded, and La Russa's got the left-hander. Flores ready in the bullpen, and he'll be coming in. Bases loaded, 1 out. Kosuke Fukudome coming up.
For every romantic moment, there's a way it can be interrupted.
Emergency home repair. A surprise visit home from college.
Unexpected guests. But guys with ED can relax because there's Cialis. Cialis is the only erectile dysfunction tablet clinically proven to both go to work fast in as little as 30 minutes for some men and work up to 36 hours. No other ED tablet can do both.
Sure, Cialis can work fast, but having up to 36 hours is a great option.
And with Cialis, I can respond to her only when we're finally ready.
Tell your doctor about your medical condition and all medications, and ask if you're healthy enough for sexual activity. Don't take Cialis if you take nitrates for chest pain, as this may cause an unsafe drop in blood pressure. Don't drink alcohol in excess with Cialis. Side effects may include headache, upset stomach, delayed backache, or muscle ache. To avoid long-term injury, seek immediate medical help if you experience an erection lasting more than 4 hours. If you have any sudden decrease in hearing or vision, stop taking Cialis and call your doctor right away.
Why ask your doctor about Cialis? Because when the moment is right, you can be ready.
Right now, when you buy a set of eligible Bridgestone tires, you'll receive a Bridgestone reward card worth up to $100. For drivers who want to get the most out of their cars, it's Bridgestone or nothing.
What's your equation for keeping healthy?
I'm a chin-upping, baseball-playing, gotta-take care of me, one-a-day man.
One-a-day men's, the only complete multivitamin with more selenium for prostate health.
It fits my equation better.
5-2 Cardinals as Kyle McClellan departs, but he leaves quite a mess for his successor on the hill as Kosuke Fukudome is coming up with the bases loaded and 1 out against the Cardinal left-hander Randy Flores. Ronnie Cedeno at third, Alfonso Soriano at second, Ryan Theriot at first. And Flores being counted upon to be the lefty who gets the left-handed hitter out. Flores has been in 11 games. He has not allowed an earned run. He's pitched a total of 7 innings. 1 unearned run allowed on only 5 hits. However, Joe, he has walked 6 in those 7 innings. So control could be an issue. Fukudome, who's done his best hitting so far this year at Wrigley Field. So apparently he loves Wrigley and they love him. He did have a big day here yesterday. He had a 3-hit game. 2 doubles and a single. Center field. Tagging at third, Cedeno. Ankiel with a strong arm. The throw ends up going through as Cedeno scores easily. Remember the throw should have gone to third.
Exactly. Should have definitely gone to third base.
It is 5-3. Well, if they can get through this, having faced Derek Lee and Fukudome, and just the 1-run scores, then I think they'll be happy about it. The Cardinals, meanwhile, after the play, made an appeal at third base that Cedeno left too soon, and Tim McClellan said no. Take a look for yourself here.
Closer than it should have been. You can see he's clearly on the back when his foot's there, but you always take that extra beat when it's not going to be a close play at the plate.
So now Mark DeRosa is coming up, a right-handed hitter, and Tony La Russa is coming out, and he's got a double switch that he has concocted, and he'll explain it here to Mike DeMuro. The wheels are turning, Joe. The Cardinals have a right-hander up in their bullpen, Ryan Franklin. And there's a young fan keeping score, Joe. I thought that was passé in baseball. But he wants to know everything that's happening. He wants to study that scorecard for himself.
He's probably questioning Tony on this double switch. Says, I don't have any spot on my book to make this switch.
When I was a kid, we never even thought about not keeping score. I wanted to keep score. I wanted a record of my game. That was an historic document as far as I was concerned. So here comes Ryan Franklin in for the bullpen with 2 men on and 2 men out. And DeRosa coming up. Got pretty good penmanship, too, Joe.
Yes.
There's the whole story of the game right there. You want to know what Pujols done? Well, this kid can tell you. Say, friends, when you can't be home to watch your favorite MLB team, check out MLB.tv. Watch every out-of-market game this season live online. For more details, visit www.mlb.com, MLB.tv. So the new pitcher's coming in, and Tony La Russa making the moves here. And Peter Gammons, Tony La Russa, has put together a rather remarkable career as a major league manager.
Well, one of the things, he's got so many friends in other sports. He's fascinated by leadership. One of the things this spring, I spent a day with Bill Belichick and watching La Russa's spring training. And, of course, Bill asks why people do everything. But Bill gave Tony this hoodie, his patented clothing wear, signed it to him. So Tony has it very proudly showing in his office. He has two treasures from Belichick. He has the hoodie, and he has David Halberstam's book, The Coldest Winter, the great last book that Halberstram wrote before he died on Korea. So they've become very, very good friends.
Tony La Russa. I remember we used to see when we go to the old ballpark here in St. Louis, Joe, almost invariably in the summertime, we'd see Bobby Knight at the ballpark visiting with Tony. They were very good friends. Ryan Franklin in, and he has been a very reliable reliever for Tony La Russa these last two seasons. Franklin with a 1.8 earned run average so far this year. And they'll hope that Franklin can get them to the closer, Isringhausen. When Franklin came in, that man, Aaron Miles, also came in at second base. Kennedy has gone out. So Miles will be in the 6th spot in the order. And Franklin the number 2 spot, which won't be due up until 7th in the next go-round. And Mark DeRosa is the hitter to try and keep this inning going with 2 men on. And his Cubs trailing 5-3. Soriano at second, Terrio at first. And that slider in there for a strike. By the way, Soriano's a very fast runner ordinarily, but remember he's back from the disabled list where he had strained his right calf. I asked him about that before the game. He said, no, it's 100%. Good as new. Ankiel into right center, back a little bit, and that's the inning. Only the one for the Cubs. They had him loaded with 1 out. Gloss will be coming up. 5-3 Cardinals.
Mediacom, I love to go fast. Tell me, how would you rev my engine?
With Mediacom high-speed internet.
I'm listening.
With speeds up to 8 megabits per second, you can download movies and music in record time.
I like that.
Oh, and it comes with security features and ESPN360.com.
Mediacom, you leave DSL in the dust.
Find your perfect match now with Mediacom Online. Just $19.95 a month for a year. Call 1-800-CABLE-TV.
It is over when I say it is!
Critics agree Dexter is one of the best shows this decade. And if you want to see all of this Emmy award-winning series, get Showtime On Demand today for the complete 1st and 2nd seasons.
I gotta get up early. Killers to catch.
Plus exclusive behind-the-scenes extras you won't find anywhere else.
I gotta get back. Dead body.
How many times have you used that one before?
Order Showtime now, and you can get a $25 rebate. Call now.
On SportsCenter, your first look at the home run everyone is talking about. Why history says the Jazz are finished. The side of LeBron you've never seen before. Plus, we're one-on-one with LT. SportsCenter next.
At the end of a long, hot day, grab a beer with a taste as cold as the Rockies. Frost Brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer.
Layers make things better, like the tasty layers of Nestle Crunch Crisp.
Light crispy wafers, chocolatey goodness, and airy Krispies. Nestle Crunch Crisp for the kid in you.
At the end of a long, hot day, grab a beer with a taste as cold as the Rockies. Frost brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer.
I'm Steve Berthew. Marian Hossa's second goal of the game, 7-10 into overtime, gave the Penguins a 3-2 win over the Rangers today. Pittsburgh wins that series 4-1. Penguins will face the Flyers in the first All-Pennsylvania Conference Final. Red Sox swept 3 from Tampa in the nation, winning 7-3 today. 4 RBIs for Kevin Youkilis. Yankees swept Seattle, Cabrera, and Cano homer. Jeter had 4 hits. Next Sports Center after the game. Stay current with ESPN News. Back to John and Joe in St. Louis. Guys.
Thanks, Steve. And here we go into the Cardinal half of the 7th inning. People have joined in singing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game," and a new pitcher is in for the Cubs, Sean Gallagher. Ronnie Cedeno, who pinch hit for his predecessor, Sean Marshall, stays in to play third base, and Gallagher will hit where DeRosa had been in the 5th spot in the order, or at least be listed there. Troy Gloss has walked, line to left, and struck out. Aaron Miles and Yadier Molina to follow. And there is Ronnie Cedeno now at third base.
John, we're talking about, Tony La Russa and how he's trying to put this team together, how he's...
That is Cedeno getting tested right away. The long throw in plenty of time.
And how he has made a lot of unorthodox moves, hitting the pitcher 8th, et cetera, et cetera. I remember asking Sparky Anderson about who the best manager was, and he said the way you grade a manager is if a guy can win with different teams. And we just showed you there's 17 different players on this team than the one that won the championship with Tony. So Tony manages different people. He doesn't manage so much just a certain way. And I think that's the key to a manager's success. He manages the people that he has, not just a standard way of managing.
Aaron Miles, the hitter, up for the first time. Center field and base hit. First hit in his first at bat for Miles, who came in hitting .300. Miles is aboard, the 9th hit for the Cardinals. If Tony, he's had teams with power.
Right.
He's had teams with great starting pitching, teams with a great bullpen.
Team with speed.
And this Cardinal team has very little speed, and so far they have not shown much power either. This is their 32nd game. They've only hit 23 home runs. Yadier Molina 0 for 3. Of course, as Tony told us, President Bush said to him on Friday when they met at the airport, "You had a pretty good first month. Now you just have to put 5 more together just like it."
I asked Lou Piniella if he thought this was a better team than the team he had last year that won the division. And he said, well, he's got to get some things straight in his bullpen. If everybody pitches to their potential out of the bullpen, then this will be a better team. But if they do not, then he's not sure. And I think he's talking about Kerry Wood taking over the closer's role and other guys doing their job out of the bullpen.
Some of the other setup men, Carlos Marmol has been excellent.
Oh, he's special.
And that's another sort of controversy if you're a Cubs fan. A lot of Cubs fans think, well, Marmol is lights out. He should be the closer.
Yeah, let Wood be the setup guy.
But sometimes games need closing before the 9th inning. There goes the runner. Nice throw by Soto. Got him by plenty. The hit and run was on a busted hit and run as Yadier Molina could not make contact. 2 down, nobody on.
Well, that's one thing, Tony will not do is sit around and wait. And you talk about the fact that he does not have a lot of power. He'll try hit and runs. He'll bunt. He'll squeeze. He'll do a lot of different things to help his team score runs. But this doesn't work.
And Soto has thrown out over 40% of those who've tried to steal with him behind the plate this year. And he gets another one there by plenty. Giovanni Soto now 44%. That's almost Yadier Molina-like. Pudge Rodriguez-like. And Sean Gallagher. You're talking about that bullpen, though, Joe. That sort of the middle guys leading to those final two, Marmol and Wood, have struggled a lot. And Gallagher was just brought up from the minor leagues yesterday. Ooh. Well, that hit the bat and broke the bat. And he's thrown out by Sean Gallagher. A very unorthodox way of getting it out. On to the 8th inning. Soto, Fontenot, Johnson coming up. 5-3. The Cubs are trailing.
You deserve a meal made for men. Introducing Taco Bell's Big Box Meal. A bean burrito, crunchy taco, cinnamon twist, a large drink, and featuring the Bacon Club Chalupa. Eat like a man.
Ironman ability, LG ingenuity, together in every LG phone. It's his.
Okay, people, 1 hour. Let's eat this run for lunch and save room for dessert. Brad, where's your Nike Plus Sport Kit?
I forgot it, Manager Armstrong.
How are you supposed to track your mileage? Or know how fast you're going? Or if you've set a personal best? How do you hunt without a weapon?
I've got this watch.
Let it be known, Brad will not be posting his mileage on the Warrior board today.
Get Nike Plus and the Live Strong collection at Dick's Sporting Goods, the home of Nike training.
This summer, what will you remember? Coleman, the outdoor company. Grill outside with a portable Coleman road trip grill that lets you cook for a crowd. Get yours at Dick's Sporting Goods.
Sports are great for a kid's body. Steroids aren't. They can ruin tendons in legs and arms. Steroids can stunt bone growth and increase the chances of liver cancer, heart attack, and stroke. Steroids don't make great athletes. They destroy them. Talk to your kids. Need help? Get help. Visit drugfree.org.
ESPN Sunday Night Baseball is presented by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. And in part by LG and Iron Man. Get inside the phone. Get inside the suit. And Dick's Sporting Goods. Every season starts at Dick's.
St. Louis, the gateway to the West, and the famous Gateway Arch. Right near the shores of the mighty Mississippi. Cardinal fans out in force tonight. A lot of Cubs fans here as well. The Cardinals in the rubber match of this 3-game series have a 5-3 lead. Giovanni Soto leads off the 8th against Ryan Franklin, the 4th Cardinal pitcher of the night. And it's ball 1. Soto has doubled to right, which started a 2-run second inning rally. He's also grounded to third and struck out. Fontenot and Johnson scheduled to follow. And that's off the outside. 2-0.
John, I want to send a quick shout out to two friends of mine who are ill. Frank Williams, the brother of the sweet swinger Billy Williams of the Cubs. He's under the weather. And Doc Ellis, former big league pitcher for the Pittsburgh Pirates. He's under the weather. Both friends of mine are in California suffering. And by the way, I mean, we lost another friend of ours, John Peter Bavasi. Buzzy Bavasi. Peter's his son, who pitches for still up in Seattle. It was interesting how Buzzy and I used to exchange letters, John. He had he wrote a lot of letters. He'd write me a letter about a player that he thought should be in the Hall of Fame, and I'd write him a letter back, and we talked about the game and what he thinks is different now.
That is foul.
And he was just a great, ambassador for the game. I mean, he never stopped talking baseball.
For 18 years, the general manager of the Dodgers, both in Brooklyn and Los Angeles. Those Dodger teams won 4 World Series titles, 8 National League pennants. And of course, he was there when the Dodgers broke baseball's color line, bringing in Jackie Robinson and Don Newcomb, Roy Campanella.
And he made an interesting statement. He said one of the things he's not happy about is that he was never able to pay the boys of summer some of the salaries that they're making today. That's pretty interesting.
I saw that note.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting.
3-2 the count. And that's just off the outside. Soto works him for a walk to start off the 8th inning. And Fontenot will be coming up. Fontenot, who's walked twice and hit a double. We send along our prayers and best wishes to the family of Buzzy Bavasi. His son Peter is the general manager in Seattle. Bill Bavasi was the general manager of the Toronto Blue Jays when they were born and back in 1977 as an expansion team. Curveball in there for a called strike to Fontenot. I remember he was such a baseball man. This is probably 30 years ago. I was doing the Texas Ranger broadcasts on radio on a powerful station in Dallas, Fort Worth, and we were in Anaheim, and he was the GM of the Angels. And he was sitting in the booth right next to our visiting radio booth, and he came over between innings with a little transistor radio and said, "I'm listening to you. I can pick up your station from Texas on my transistor. I'm listening to your broadcast in my booth." He says, "And I hear you guys all the time." He was such a baseball fan that just watching his own team wasn't enough. He was always listening to the out-of-town game. This is back before the internet and MLB.TV and all that sort of thing. He just could not get enough baseball. He wanted to know everything that was going on in the baseball world. It was his life. Buzzy Bavasi, he passed away at his home in La Jolla, California on Thursday at age 93. A great baseball man, and he will definitely be missed in the game. 2-2 to Fontenot.
John, we know about the Cubs suffering for 100 years. Well, the Chunichi Dragons have not won for a long period of time, and that's where Fukudome came from. And they had a Fukudome, and they had a famous manager there, John.
Hoshino.
Yeah, Shunichi Hoshino. And he had a habit of things weren't going well, the team didn't play well, he would punch guys in the face. Actually punch the players if they didn't play well. But Fukudome says that he never was abused that way, and he compared him to Lou Piniella. He said they both are very intense as managers.
The pop up to the shortstop is Torres, and there is one away. By the way, Joe, Ochiai was his manager when they actually won in 2007, ending that 53-year drought. But he didn't have anything bad to say about Hoshino. You had to produce for him, that's all.
Well, if you didn't, you got punched.
Here's Reed Johnson now. Kosuke Fukudome making the transition from the Japanese Central League to the National League here in Major League Baseball in the U.S. and North America. Reed Johnson, the hitter's double home run, flied out to shallow right center, grounded out to third. And by the way, Joe, I think I had the names backward on. Bill Bavasi is the general manager in Seattle, and it was Peter Bavasi who was the general manager when the Blue Jays were born in 1977.
I think I led you the wrong way.
The Bavasi family baseball dynasty. 1-1 to Reed Johnson. Runner at first, one out here in the 8th inning. 5-3, the Cardinals leading the Cubs.
And by the way, we might also send a shout out to Peter Pasquarelli, who is normally here in the booth with us. He's at home ill, and Jack Sheehan, who works down in our tech manager in our compound. We have a compound downstairs, John.
We all really work for Jack.
Yeah.
1-2 the count to Reed Johnson. Ronnie Cedeno on deck and Soriano in the hole. Cubs need some base runners, down 5-3. That is Giovanni Soto, who led off the inning with a walk. And it's too low, 94 miles an hour. 2-2 the count. Greg Maddux tried for his 350th win today for the 4th time, and for the 4th time was denied. As the Padres, just about everybody with the Padres is getting denied lately. Except for Jake Peavy yesterday. They're having a hard time winning any games. That's a foul. Very protective looking swing there. They lost 10-3 at Miami to the Marlins today. And all of the National League East teams were victorious today. The Phillies came from behind again. They've won 10 games coming from behind already this year out of their 18 total. The Mets won, Florida, Atlanta, and 4 of those 5 teams are at 500 or better. Look at it. A check swing. An appeal made and denied by Larry Vanover, the first base umpire. 3-2 the count. The Yankees swept the weekend series. The Yankees are starting to get going now.
Well, they were on the road for so long, John. Now they're playing some games at Yankee Stadium, and quite naturally they're going to play better at home.
Mike Messina has started to win games for them. That's
well,
back to the screen.
Ever since he started pitching like Jamie Moyer, you know, when Hank Steinbrenner suggested he started pitching like Jamie Moyer, he's won 3 in a row. Actually, he did not start pitching like that, but that was the suggestion. And I actually broadcast the game he pitched in his next outing, and he pitched very well.
Well, he's won 3 in a row. He's 3-0 with a 2.5 ERA in that stretch. Today they beat Seattle 8-2, and Darrell Rasner, just up for the farm system, pitched 6 strong innings to get the win. They optioned Ian Kennedy to AAA. That ball is hit high in the air, deep down the left field line, but not deep enough. Schumacher. A few anxious moments there for Cardinal fans as Reed Johnson goes deep into the left field corner. 2 down. Coverage of Major League Baseball continues tomorrow night. The Boston Red Sox will be in Detroit to take on the slugging Tigers. Monday Night Baseball on ESPN at 7 Eastern. Also available on ESPN in Detroit tomorrow night. David Ortiz has gotten it going. 14 RBIs his last 11 games. Maglio Ordonez 16 RBIs his last 12 games, hitting .378. Both will be in action tomorrow night.
Well, the problem is Big Papi got scratched today, John. He had tightness in his right knee, and he had been hot. He was 8 for his last 17 with 4 RBIs.
Ronnie Cedeno, who's had a hot bat. Ronnie Cedeno, he used to be sort of the good field no-hit guy, but he's hitting like crazy right now. Cedeno, .391 and 46 at bats, and he's had 16 RBIs, which is astounding. He's only had 46 at bats, and he's driven in 16 runs. Two down, runner at first. The Cubs are trailing 5-3. Franklin just off the outside. 1-2. Tony wanted that call, just like the crowd.
Well, they set up outside. It was off the plate. It was a good 0-2 pitch. Try to get the hitter to chase something, and he did not chase it.
Ryan Franklin. Still 1 ball, 2 strike count. Wellemeyer, the former Cub, went the first 5. Then Kyle McClellan, Randy Flores, and now Franklin trying to carry this lead to the end. It would be Wellemeyer's game to win. 1-2 the count. And again, lunging for it, fouling it off.
That's a good job by Cedeno because that pitch is right on the outside corner and diving. And he just fights it off, which is all you can do. See, that ball's diving away. But a good job by Cedeno just to foul it off. You try to spoil those great pitches and hope he makes a mistake.
Oh, nasty. Struck him out. The inning is over. The slider, the slide piece, racked him up. 5-3 Cardinals.
Coming to DVD. Own the comedy critics call hip and hilarious.
You got a gun in the church? God gonna whip your...
Ice Cube and Tracy Morgan are comedy heaven. With deleted scenes, funny outtakes, and much more. First Sunday. Get it on DVD and Blu-ray High Def May 6th.
Right now, when you buy a set of eligible Bridgestone tires, you'll receive a Bridgestone reward card worth up to $100. For drivers who want to get the most out of their cars, it's Bridgestone or nothing.
Should a man over 50 take the same multivitamin as a woman?
I don't think so.
One a day men's 50 plus advantage. The only complete multivitamin with support for prostate and heart health, plus more ginkgo for memory and concentration. Nice. From One a day.
The world is mine. The world is mine. The world is mine. The world is mine.
Every day is a new chance to show the world how phenomenal you can be. Start today with the confidence you get from Gillette Fusion Power Phenom. Fusion Power soothing micropulses help you reduce friction so you barely feel the blades. Try the world's most comfortable shave, Fusion Power.
The best a man can get.
When you're used to always doing something with a cigarette, it can be hard doing it without one. But if you can relearn how to drive without cigarettes, then you can relearn to do anything without cigarettes. Introducing X, a new way to think about quitting.
After the game on SportsCenter, your first look at the home run everyone is talking about. Why history says the Jazz are finished. The side of LeBron you've never seen before. Plus, we're one-on-one with LT. SportsCenter, next.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent.
Busch Stadium in St. Louis, Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. And the Cardinals lead the Cubs 5-3, last of the 8th inning. Jason Isringhausen has started to throw in the St. Louis bullpen for the 9th inning. And there's ball one to Ryan Ludwig. Ludwig singled and scored a run in the 6th inning. That has been his only trip to the plate in this game. He entered on a double switch. Sean Gallagher, the third Cubs pitcher. The count goes 2-0. By the way, Joe, we were talking at the outset of the telecast as you see Isringhausen getting ready for the 9th inning about how the Cubs are a much more patient team now, working the count, seeing a lot more pitches, getting a lot more walks, much higher on base percentage than in the past. And in that 8th inning, the 4 hitters who came up saw a total of 28 pitches from Ryan Franklin. So they all were battling. Franklin, Soto, and Fontenot 7 pitches each. Reed Johnson an 8-pitch at bat. Cedeno a 6-pitch at bat. Now, it didn't ultimately turn into any offense for them, but I think they could all be satisfied that they gave very gritty, very focused, determined at bats.
Well, there'll be times when those things do pay off, John, and runs.
Here is Cesar Torres. I've been enjoying the clips we've been able to see and hear of your interview that you did with Albert.
Yeah, Albert's special.
Torres right to the shortstop, Terrio, 2 down. So let's go back and revisit your interview with Albert a little bit here.
How are you going to keep your concentration, not chase pitches, do all the things you just told me, even though they're not going to challenge you as much?
You just said it right there. And I was talking to Pregame early. One thing that I told him is I'm glad that
The first 2 months last year of the season, I struggled because I chased pitch out of the strike zone, and I put too much weight in my shoulder. This year, it's not like that. This year, it's like, hey, listen, I'm doing my job, and that's getting on base, taking what the pitch is giving me. If I had to drive it wrong, drive it in if I get a good pitch to hit. But I also have 8 guys behind me that they need to take care of their job.
Very good point there.
And the job that needs to be taken care of now, Jason Isringhausen, who will try and finish this off. The top of the order coming up with the Cubs. Soriano, Terrio, Derek Lee. Isringhausen coming in 5-3. The Cubs are trailing.
Ven, papi, desátame de una vez. ¿Dónde has estado? Te he estado esperando por más de una hora. Al menos me hubieras llamado.
Jimmy
Los
Jones.
niños se están comportando como monios.
Jimmy
Estoy
Jones,
enloqueciendo.
ayúdame, por favor.
¿Cómo quieres que
¡Pronto!
solo?
¡Jimmy
Jimmy John's, America's #1 sandwich delivery. Freaky fast, freaky good.
Look around the house and you'll notice things eventually need an upgrade. Now, when you add Mediacom phone, you're automatically entered to win a $25,000 grand prize home upgrade. From that addition you've been talking about, some new appliances, or whatever your house needs, now it may get done for free just by adding Mediacom phone. So what are you waiting for? Whoa, is that shag carpet? Call 1-800-CABLE-TV to get Mediacom phone for just $19.95 a month for a year.
News and battery technology. Consider this. Now you can take up to 5,000 pictures over the life of 2 batteries. Duracell rechargeables. They're rechargeables reinvented. Duracell, trusted everywhere.
It was terrifying.
Yeah, the bike had just vanished, and we were stuck out here.
1 hour later, Tim and Jesse's bike was recovered thanks to LoJack, the only vehicle recovery system used by police. LoJack, the most successful theft recovery system on Earth.
A lot of choices, huh?
Tell me about it.
Because you want a beer that's not too heavy.
Yeah?
But you don't want to compromise on taste, so...
No, I don't.
Just want that perfect balance.
Budweiser. Oh, thanks, man. You know, they ought to pay you.
Just here to help.
Russell Athletic ESPN Arena Football, Monday at 8 on ESPN2.
ESPN Sunday Night Baseball presented by Taco Bell. Part of the view we get from the ballpark here of the historic downtown in St. Louis. Now to the 9th inning, and Jason Isringhausen, who had a blown save here on Friday, will get another shot. And against the man who caused him to have the blown save, Alfonso Soriano. Soriano hit a 2-run homer in the 9th on Friday to tie the ball game, which the Cardinals eventually won anyway. Isringhausen comes in with a 7.11 ERA. Came after him with that fastball to 0-2. This was the at-bat on Friday night with a runner aboard.
And I'm sure Isringhausen would tell you that's just a bad pitch. Fastball in and not up enough and not in enough. Just right there for Soriano to hit.
Soriano's seen 14 pitches tonight, 13 strikes. He's been behind 0-2 in every at-bat. Curveball. There's Gloss. 1 away.
Nice play by Gloss. That was not an easy play. But a good job by Yadier Molina to make him hit. He put his glove on the ground. He wanted that curveball to bounce. He didn't quite bounce it, but he got a ground ball out of it. And like I said, not an easy play there by Gloss, but timed it perfectly and made the play.
One down, Ryan Terrio, who's been on base 3 times tonight. Isringhausen in his last 8 appearances, 1 win, 2 losses, 4 saves, and there's ball 1 to Terrio, and 3 blown saves in that time. He's allowed 10 runs, 11 hits, and has a 13.5 ERA in that time. Fastball a strike to Terrio. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, he's doing it on guile now, John, more than he used to have an overpowering fastball with the great curveball and the changeup. But now he's not throwing as hard, so he's outsmarting the hitter, moving the pitches around.
Well, on the right field line, slicing foul and unplayable for Ludwig, who gave chase. 44,969, an absolute sellout at Busch Stadium for the Cubs and Cardinals tonight. When we were out and about early this morning, about 8:30, there were hundreds of fans on the sidewalks in line to get here early to try and get whatever tickets might be left on day of sale. Isringhausen only had 2 blown saves all of last year. Just off the outside. Little cutter.
Nice 0-2 pitch. 1-2 pitch, actually. They tried to get him to chase that pitch off the plate. Just a little bit outside.
2-2. And the cutter is popped up. Albert on the move. He's there. That's a very big out, because now the slugger, Derek Lee, comes up, and the worst he could do is make it a 1-run game.
Yeah. One other thing, John, I wanted to clear up. Albert wanted me to clear this up for him. He said his elbow is not any worse now than it was, in 2003. It hasn't gotten any worse. He said it just became a big story in spring training, but he said he feels fine. It's the same as it was, and he's not worried about it.
Derek Lee. Fastball, a strike at 94 miles an hour. Reached back and got a little extra. Isringhausen, the 5th pitcher of the night. His starting pitcher went 5. Wellemeyer, but now they're 1 out away from winning it. Fastball is high. 1 ball and 1 strike. If Lee could get aboard, Fukudome would come up as the possible tying run. He's on deck. At the knees, he got the call. Strike 2.
And Fukudome's only home run came in the bottom of the 9th with 2 outs to tie the ball game on opening day.
Everybody standing. Strike 3 call. The Cardinals have won it. And a 3-up, 3-down 9th inning for Jason Isringhausen.
Well, he went after Derek Lee with all fastballs. And he got the call on the 2 low fastballs. And let's take a look at the last pitch. Right there, right at the bottom of the strike zone. Excellent pitch by Isringhausen.
And Izzy, despite all the problems early on, with his 10th save of the year. By Chevrolet, player of the game, Todd Wellemeyer, the former Cub, who had the, and I'm sure it was a thrill, he got the win against his old team. 2 runs, 3 hits allowed in 5 innings with considerable help from the bullpen. Chevrolet is proud to recognize today's best and tomorrow's future, supporting youth baseball nationwide. And Albert Pujols drove in the winning run with a double in the 4th inning that broke a 2-2 tie. The Cardinals win the series and are now a game and a half up on the Cubs as they head out on the road in the Central Division. Up next on ESPN Sports Center. Stay tuned for that. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Joe Morgan and Peter Gammons, this is Jon Miller. Thanks for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the telecast. We'll see you next Sunday on Sunday Night Baseball. Good night.
The shot heard around the world. Women's softball now has its version. An unforgettable story that now has video to accompany it. Coming up, we'll show you the home run that everyone's talking about.
Rondo on a nice release. Oh, hard foul!
This is SportsCenter.
Kobe looking like the MVP in Game 1. What history says about the Jazz chances now. Game 7 blowout. Big Three now facing the LeBron challenge. Pitchers duel in the desert. Did an ace or an error steal the spotlight and Dodger Blue bidding for 9 straight? Winding down in his prime, we're one-on-one with LT. Why this explosive back's talking about walking away from football. Plus an overtime thriller on the ice. Sidney Crosby's crew looking to clinch. See who's skating on SportsCenter. Right now. That was it. Welcome to SportsCenter alongside John Buccigross. I'm Neil Everett. Game 7. Powerful words when paired together.
Boston Celtics, Boston Garden. Also powerful when paired together. Game 7. Hawks Celtics. Winner plays the Cavaliers. Celtics 14-3 all-time in Game 7's best in the NBA. Mike Bibby, only Hawk with any Game 7 experience. Off to a good start. Joe Johnson for 3, but he would hit only 4 of his next 16 shots, and the Hawks would not play loosely at the start. Josh Smith missing. Al Horford would rush one as well. Hawks 6 for 23 from the field to start things off. Celtics up by 4. Kevin Garnett strong. 18 points, 11 rebounds, 9 of 13 shooting. Celtics up 14-8. Ray Allen, not a great game, only 3 of 12 shooting, but he'll take this bunny from Rajon Rondo, and the Celtics up 10. The lead is expanding. Paul Pierce. Mike Bibby gives him an inch. He takes a mile-long jump shot. 27-16 after 1. Second quarter, Hawks only had 10 points in the second quarter. Josh Smith, inaccurate. 5 turnovers for Smith. Later, air ball. 3 of 11 shooting for Smith. It was 44-26 at halftime. 26 points for the Hawks in the first half. Rondo on the break, and look out. Mikhail on Rambis-like. Rondo would get up. Watch it again. Flagrant foul. Williams would be ejected. So he did try to hold Rondo up, but at that point, Rondo has lost his footing. So he lands hard in his tailbone right there. Again, Williams is done. He came in a bit nicked up anyway. Later in the third, Celtics pour it on. Pierce behind his world to Garnett. And one. The bench loves it. 35-point third quarter for the Celtics. And then boom! Cam Neely style from Kevin Garnett. Remember him and Jaja had some words down in Atlanta. And there it is. The home team wins every game in the series. Celtics had more home games, so they win the series and move on to play LeBron James and the Cavaliers. Game 1, Tuesday night. Atlanta, again, scored 26 points in the first half, a record low for a Celtic opponent. Defense has driven the Celtics victory train this season, and the conductor of that choo-choo has been Kevin Garnett.
Atlanta played their ass off in the series. I'm not going to discount nothing Joe Johnson did, nothing Josh Smith did, or none of the other guys that did that. They played really hard for 7 games, man. I thought everybody anticipated us because of what we did the first 2 games here, that we were just going to go down and, you know, they made this a series. And not only, I think Paul and Doc said this in the locker room, we learned a lot about ourselves through this.
I think we're better having gone through all this. And it'll be interesting. You know, we're playing good teams now, and home's not going to be, being away is not going to be easy.
We just didn't fare well here in Boston. For whatever reasons, we didn't. But I just think it's something to learn from. You know, our guys being so young, first time in, we'll build on this, and we'll move forward, and we'll be better for it.
Will the Celtics be better for it? They survive, avoid losing to a team in the first round with a losing record. They win their first playoff series since 2003 against the Pacers. One of the toughest teams to beat in a Game 7. Sunday's win improves their record in the ultimate game to 18-5, 15-3 at home. Next, LeBron James and the Cavaliers. The 2 teams split their 4 meetings in the regular season, each team winning their 2 home games. Look inside the numbers of that season series. By the way, we'll have much more on this Cavalier-Celtics series later in this Sports Center. Celtics scored more points, shot better from the field, but the Cavaliers had the edge on the boards by 5. Again, Game 1 of this series, Tuesday night in Boston, 8 Eastern.
Kobe Bryant and the Lakers hosting Game 1 of the playoffs second round. Utah looking to kill that Hollywood buzz. Kobe's been a first-teamer on the NBA's all-defensive squad 5 times. Carlos Boozer recognized the steal and the dunk by Bryant. Later in the first, Kobe, baseline drive, let's play Twister. Worth another look? Survey says yes. Kobe Bryant goes 4 for 6 from the field, including 1 of 2 from 3, 6 of 6 from the free throw line, 15 points. Jerry Sloan, how do you stop it?
We got to put everybody on it.
Everybody.
You got to put the whole team on it. We can't match up with Kobe Bryant. We knew that coming in. He's a great player. We just have to do the best we can.
The only guy on Utah's team who could cover Kobe Bryant, Jerry Sloan in his prime, and even he would have had his hands full. Kobe crossover, score, foul, part of a 12-4 run to open the second. Andre Kirilenko, no chance. Kobe 11 for 11 from the free throw line in the first half. Lamar Odom, outlet pass to Kobe. Lakers lead 54-41 at the half. Kobe 24 points. Third quarter, more Kobe. Drives, draws the defense. Vladimir Radmanovic for 3. Lakers go 5 of 10 from 3. Utah goes 2 for 19, but they stick around. Boozer, 15 points, 14 rebounds, but he also has 7 turnovers. Still, it's a 7-point game. Back to the L.A. story. Kobe to Paul Gasol. Gasol, 18 points, 10 rebounds, under 5 seconds left in the quarter. Darren Williams didn't shoot it well, but shot it well there. The three-pointer, and we have a 7-point game heading into the fourth. Now down to 6. What do you say, 4, and let's make it a ball game. Williams to Ronnie Brewer. Lakers, let's not make it a ball game and say we did. Kobe finds Gasol, who finds Odom and the foul, and the Lakers go back up 6. And the Lakers are going to win this thing by 11. Kobe, bounce pass to Gasol, 38 points for Kobe Bryant. He sets a team playoff record with 21 free throws made in 23 attempts, 109-98. Your final. Sloan on his team's defense said it was very, very poor at best. Bryant also comes in with 7 assists and 6 rebounds. L.A. makes 38 of 46 free throws. Utah, 22 of 30. Game 2, Wednesday night in Los Angeles.
We didn't feel like we played our best basketball. But we still had managed to build up a double-digit lead, and we're able to maintain it throughout the game. So we're pleased with that.
You can't get down to a team like that in the first quarter, in the first half, and expect to come back. You can battle. We were right there, but you use a lot of energy. Just trying to come back that you can't really get over that hump, and I think that's what happened tonight.
We haven't played against a team like Utah and their physicality. I mean, it takes a little getting used to. I'm just happy that we were able to sustain a game like this and know what we can expect going into Game 2 and to make our adjustments.
Well, what do we got? Well, when the Lakers win Game 1 here, there's a good chance they're going to take the series. Why? Because Phil Jackson has never lost a series of any kind when his team wins Game 1. He's 39-0. 10th time the Lakers have their first 5 playoff games. They've won the title 6 times. And while the Jazz fall to 1-8 in their last 9 Game 1 road playoff games.
Sunday night was night 26 of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Barry Melrose has been here for everyone.
Actually, one day early, so it's 27.
We'll take it. Flyers, Red Wings, they've made the Final Four. Now they wait for their opponents. Penguins and Stars could join them with wins. Stars up on the Sharks. Penguins up 3-1 on the Rangers when Sunday began. Barry, Crosby, Malkin, Ben Roethlisberger.
He's a hockey fan. Everyone in Pittsburgh loves the Penguins.
What's up, Miami, Ohio? They had a good team this year.
Yes, they did.
Oh, tough break for Chris Drury. He takes a stick to the face. He is leaking, but no penalty.
Very big break right there for Pittsburgh. No 4-minute power play for them. Marion Hossa, great play keeping it in. This is the same play that he kept in. Ryan alone across to Hossa. He got rewarded for that great play at the blue line.
Yeah, they got him at the trade deadline. He keeps the puck in the zone.
Look at this. Diving. That just spurs your teammates on when a player like that makes a play. And then a great passing play. Best power play in the NHL right now. Every time they get a power play, you think they're going to score Pittsburgh.
Crosby, Malone. and then over for the goal. And then it's 2-0. Evgeny Malkin buried this puck went in edge just for a second and got him a chance to lift the puck.
Well, terrible coverage by the Rangers. They got numbers back. They got 3 guys, but everyone's playing the puck. You cannot play the puck with Malkin. He's a magician with the puck. You got to take the body on him.
Look at the shots on goal in the second, 17-4. And look at this. Yager blows a kiss to Jarkko Ruutu.
Oh, you don't blow a kiss at Jarkko Ruutu. No way.
Nope.
He's a pest, king-size pest.
No points for Yager in 23 minutes of play. Third period, containing Finland's Lauri Korpakowski. Normally good, Barry.
First game he's ever played in the NHL, a playoff game. He gets a goal in it. Right here, you're going to see Nigel Dawes get a pass from Gomez. All of a sudden, a 2-0 deficit is a 2-2 game.
In 82 seconds, and this game would go to overtime, and in overtime, oh, poor Daniel Girardi, Barry. He kicks the puck right to Marian Hossa, who wins the game, and the Penguins advance.
Well, this is why you get a guy at the deadline. You give up 4 prospects for a goal scorer. It's on his stick. He knows what he's doing with it. Ends up in that biggest goal he's ever scored in his life.
Sidney Crosby and the Penguins win the series in 5, and they move on.
It seemed like forever before it actually went in, but to see it go in the back of the net was a great feeling. And then you obviously check with, make sure it's a good goal, and everyone's coming off the bench, and it's a great feeling. And I think if anything, it's just a relief because we worked so hard and deserved to win today. And it was just one of those things where we were hitting posts, and Lundqvist was making big saves, and you don't want to let a team hang around. That's when it gets dangerous. So it was a great feeling.
Flyers and Penguins will meet for the right to go and play for Lord Stanley's Cup. Since the NHL expanded in 1968, this will be just the 4th in-state conference rival. So, Barry, here it is. 5 wins for the Flyers during the regular season and 3 wins for the Penguins. And for the first time, we have an all-Pennsylvania final. What's the key for both these teams as they enter?
Well, it's really interesting because they're really different. The Flyers got the hottest goaltender in the NHL, and Marty Biron. No one's playing better than this guy. He's been fantastic. He's the main reason the Flyers are where they're at. He's been spectacular. He's been solid. I think he's let in 1 soft goal in the playoffs that I can remember. He gives his team a chance to win in the 3rd period. That's what you're trying to do for a goaltender. But facing the best offensive team in the NHL with the best power play in the NHL. If you take a penalty, and the Flyers do take penalties, you're going to see a puck movement like you've never seen before. It ends up on Malkin's stick. It ends up on Crosby's stick. It ends up on Hossa's stick, Gonchar's stick. Those are 4 of the best offensive players in the world on that power play. That's why they're dangerous. It's going to be the biggest test Marty Biron's ever faced in his life.
And these teams had a lot of fight-filled games.
Yes, they do.
Season.
Intensity.
This is a big-time rival. Barry back later to talk about the Sharks and the Stars.
Thanks, John.
Still ahead on SportsCenter, 2 of baseball's best young arms duking it out in the desert, and an older bat still getting it done. More on the huge wins for the Lakers and Celtics, and coming up a side few have ever seen of LeBron James off the court. Plus, we go one-on-one with LT, the latest on his knee injury and why he may not be playing football as long as you might expect.
I don't know. I mean, it comes a time where you got to walk away from the game, and I really would like to walk away from the game on top.